cars have to have engines or else they're not proper cars, are they?
Stimulating late-night sporting debate for long-distance lorry drivers,
14 for the copy.
young mums,
What time do you call this? Coming on?
and students who've taken too many of those caffeine tablets.
The Two Mikes, Parry and Graham on Talk Sport.
Look at the light! The picture can get the dog to do what it has learned.
Yeah.
I never cease to be amazed by what dogs are capable
They are
of.
incredible creatures. They really are. However, I don't think they can read. Because if they could read, surely they'd be, reading a lot more. Because reading's very enjoyable.
Well, yeah, but this is the first
They're
dog who's
reading
been taught to
Well,
read.
he's not reading War and Peace, is he?
Well, he's been taught to read, though. Of course, not reading War and Peace, you idiot. How do you turn the pages over?
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes, and I'm delighted to say it's time to say a very, very good morning and welcome back to both of us, really, to Mr. Mike, Porky Parry. Very good morning to Mr. Parry.
And a very good morning to you, Mike. The world has now officially gone mad.
Yes, it has.
Volvo have decided that within a couple of years they
Yep.
won't be making cars that
What
have
did I
got
tell you?
the internal combustion engine.
What did I tell you?
Well, you must be part of the plot then.
Not at all, no. If you remember rightly, we were doing, I think it might have been our very first or possibly our second appearance on Sky TV.
Yes.
Doing the morning papers,
Yes.
right? And the piece was buried away, very, very badly hidden away.
Yeah, that's
you
because
might
it's
say.
non-news.
No, not because it's non-news, because I could spot a story, and it was buried away in the business section of the Telegraph, right? And I pointed to them at Sky, and I said, I think this is a massive story. They agreed with me, and they made it the first story that we actually reviewed. And this was probably about 4, maybe 6 weeks ago.
we reviewed it because
6 weeks ago, and you poo-pooed it and said, this is never going to happen. Absolute rubbish.
Where-
Of course we're going to be... The story said that petrol cars will be no more come about 2022.
Yeah, that's
Something like that.
2025, I think it said.
Yeah.
There'll be no petrol cars. 2023, there'll be no petrol cars
Yeah.
left. Well, OK, in that case, where are we getting all the electricity from to run all the, how many cars are on the roads in Britain, do you know?
I actually don't know, but I would assume
it's about
that,
40 million.
I was going to say it would be somewhere like half the population, wouldn't it?
Yes, that's
35,
right.
40
Yeah,
million.
something like that.
Yeah.
So
Are
where...
you including commercial vehicles as well? Or
Yes,
not?
of course I'm including commercial
Okay.
vehicles. 40,
Right.
50 million vehicles
Yeah.
on the road, OK?
Okay.
So at the moment, we're systematically closing down power stations.
Yeah.
And the reason
Well,
we're
we're
doing
closing
that...
down power stations that we don't like the power that they make. It doesn't mean that the power's not being made
No,
somewhere else.
I like the power they make.
Well, you
but
might like it,
people
but-
like Ed Miliband,
Yeah.
who introduced,
He's a top man, is Ed.
yeah.
Ed Miliband now looks like a genius of politics compared to who we got in charge at the moment and
Well-
who we've got leading the opposition, by the way.
Ed Miliband, who's decided that, we would pay more green taxes than any other country in the world
Yeah.
for no specific reason,
No,
but to
just
seem to
because
be
Gordon
nice.
Brown told him to.
Yeah, Gordon Brown told him to, and it's nice to be, seen to be nice and all this kind of stuff, So...
It's good to save the world.
So, as a part of signing up to the green taxes, we had to close down a load of coal-burning power stations,
Yeah.
the most efficient in the world,
Well, you
which,
say that.
which China are still building one a week
You
of,
say
you know
that,
what I mean?
But I mean, coal is on the way out, and everybody knows
No,
it.
coal's not on the way
Yeah,
out.
it is, yeah,
no,
it
there's
is.
plenty of future for coal.
No, there isn't.
So then we are now going to face a power shortage possibly this coming winter because we simply don't have enough fuel. Another mad scheme was to cut down forests in Canada and to ship all those logs over to Yorkshire to put
Now, this is
into
a very
Drax Power
familiar.
Station.
This is a very familiar refrain of yours, though. You're
It's
going to have to stop being the one man in the world that is
No.
holding up his hands to
No, no,
progress.
no.
The march of progress is marching towards you.
Yeah.
You can't just keep holding your hands up and saying, go away.
Okay, what was the name of that crook who went to jail because he got his wife to volunteer to take the speeding points from him?
Are you talking about the
Chris,
MP?
Chris somebody?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, a crook.
Yeah, his wife is a leading economist.
Yeah, that's right. She went
Yeah.
to jail as
She
well.
went to jail
They both
as
went
well.
to jail.
Yeah,
so
that's
a pair
right.
of crooks, right?
Yeah.
So he dictated policy in the coalition government
Yeah.
because the Tories didn't have enough strength in numbers to say no. He also dictated an enormous new raft of laws, which meant that, we go green, 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 tax, tax, tax,
Right.
and ended up now with all these mad policies which result in people thinking that the world can run on electricity alone.
Chris Huhne.
Chris Huhne, thank
And
you very
Vicky
much indeed.
Price.
And Vicky Price,
Yeah.
that's right, yeah.
Who paid the price.
Paid the price,
Yeah.
she certainly did.
Well, the worst thing...
And Hoon, who in my
stupidest,
view was completely out of tune.
The stupidest thing that Huhne out of tune did was not only did he get his wife to take his points, he then had an affair and left her.
Yes, that's
and
right.
she went, hello,
Yeah.
I think I'll go and talk to one of the papers about this.
And the woman he left his wife for was of mixed sexual...
Beg your pardon?
Mixed sexual...
Mixed sexual what?
I'm just trying to find out.
What do you mean?
tastes, mixed sexual tastes.
What do you mean,
That's
a mixed
right.
sexual taste?
Well, I think she liked relationships with
you
all
talking
human
about Vicky
beings.
Price?
No, I'm not talking about Vicky Price.
Oh, the other one?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was her name?
Well, I don't know, but
Can't remember.
she was of mixed sexual taste anyway, I'm sure.
You say she was bisexual.
Oh, well, I don't like to use that word. I think that's a little
that's a
unfair.
fairly straightforward
but,
word. Otherwise,
well,
you might be
a bit
impugning something worse.
bit like sort of David Bowie was in his early years. You know what I mean?
Bisexual, nothing wrong with that.
Bit sort of confused
Bit
as
androgynous.
to where to go. Androgynous, perhaps, is the word.
Right.
So guys like him.
What sort of driving licence record did you have?
Sorry?
What sort of driving
I
licence
don't know
record
about
did you
that.
have?
So guys like him, who take the prizes out of life as an MEP with all the fantastic amount of money that involved $200,000 a year, still didn't want to pay for a parking fine. For a speeding fine.
Right.
So he gets his wife to under duress to take the points. They both end up in jail.
Yeah.
This is a man who drafted a raft of such draconian laws involving environmental damage, save the environment.
Yeah.
Tax everything that's not green. That's landing us now with the biggest electricity and gas bills in the world.
However, one of the reasons we have big electricity and gas bills in this country is because we've allowed foreign companies to come in and buy up all the sort of homegrown companies. Scottish Power is no more Scottish than you are.
No,
it's owned by the Spanish.
I totally agree.
And the French are all involved in EDF are all over the place.
And
they're
another
building a new nuclear plant with the Chinese.
Yeah.
We don't own anything anymore.
And another great contribution from former Prime Minister David Cameron, the man who was responsible for Andy Murray having a slow start to Wimbledon.
How is he responsible for that?
By giving him a knighthood far too early.
I see what you mean. He hasn't had a slow start to Wimbledon, by the way. He had a very slow start to Queen's, where he got knocked out in the first round.
A slow start to his preparations for Wimbledon.
Yeah, he's done all right so far.
He's done very well. He's done brilliant.
He's only lost 14 games.
In fact, you know what? I think he's doing a bit of a Trojan horse here.
What, you think he's pretending that he's got a bad hit?
Yeah. Don't you think?
I think a bit of Jose Mourinho's sort of... Never mind Sir Alex Ferguson.
Bit of Trojan horse, let's limp off court. But but getting back to
fancy Rafa, by the way,
getting back to the original problem, I'll ask you a question you can't answer.
Okay.
When all cars are running on electricity in 2023, which is a mere 6 years away, where is all the electricity coming from?
Well, it's a stupid question, to be honest.
No, it's not, because we haven't got enough power stations for it.
That's not true.
We're going to run out of
That's
power
not true.
this coming winter.
When was the last time?
Coming winter, you could have the lights out at 10 o'clock every night on the street because there's no electricity.
You warned about this time last year.
Yeah.
And what happened?
We had a mild winter.
No,
we had a mild winter.
We did not have a mild winter.
If we have a tough
cold.
winter, we are in trouble.
Well, we're not going to have a tough winter because of all the
You don't know that.
Yeah, right, because of all the coal-fired power stations all over the world, which are causing global warming.
No,
we're never going to have a tough winter.
No. And by the way, talking about the Chinese, yes, Mr. Cameron's contribution with the Chinese was to order a new nuclear power station up in Cumbria, which is going to cost about 10 times.
I thought they were making it down in the West Country, in Bristol, aren't they?
No, it's up in the.
I think it's Bristol way. I'm pretty sure.
No, I don't think you're right there.
Yeah,
but anyway, it's going to cost about 10 times what it should cost because...
That's because the French are involved. It's got nothing to do with us.
Well, the Chinese are involved in this
No, the Chinese are building it.
That's right.
With the French.
Going to run it.
But they're going to be running it, and it's going to be built in Britain.
I mean,
but the Brits have got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, sometimes I get extremely frustrated in trying to educate people. So there's two issues here on the cars. One. We won't be able to generate enough electricity anyway.
Incorrect.
But two, where are all these 40 million cars a day going to fill up with electricity?
Yeah, well, they don't fill up with electricity for a start.
There's 2 electricity poles that I know of in the whole of London, one of the biggest cities in the world.
That's because you only go to 2 places.
Well, how many do you think there are?
I know how many there are.
How many are there?
There are at least 200 in London alone.
Oh, 200?
Yes, at least.
200?
Yes.
For the 20 million cars that go through London every week?
Well, it's 198 more than you thought there were. It's
200, what a joke.
198 more than you thought there were.
What a joke. And so...
Why is it a joke? Why are you so against progress?
So
why are you such a Luddite?
I'm not.
Why don't you just come in a horse and cart and make yourself feel happier?
No, I can just see the world collapsing.
Mind you, with your car, you wouldn't be much worse
We will
off.
return to Stone Ageism going down this route.
Stone
Ageism? Without a shadow of a doubt. I'm telling you.
Well, you've never left Stone Ageism, have you?
By the time this mad experiment has
There's nothing mad about it. I think it's great.
This mad experiment comes to fruition.
I'm going to order my electric car for my next car.
I'll tell you what, Fred Flintstone.
My next car is going to be electric.
Fred Flintstone will be more advanced than most drivers in this country. So if I were you, I'd do what Fred's done in his latest advert.
Yeah.
Buy a new pair of trainers, and cut a square out of the bottom of your car, because that's the only way you're going to get a car to move when we go all electric.
You do know that's
I'm
fictional, don't you?
Sorry?
Here's one from Donald.
You do know that's what?
It's fictional, that, the Flintstones. You do know that, don't
I'm telling you, that's the only way you're going to move a car in the future.
Porky, by 2030, the population of London will increase by 20%. There's no space for the extra cars. Cars are on the way out, says Donald, who, by the way, lives in Edinburgh.
Yeah, well, electric cars should never even come in the first place, OK?
I don't know why you're against them. I'm going to get an electric car. My next car's going to be electric.
Yeah, well, OK, that's great. Well, you won't be coming to Goodison with me, driving 200 miles up to Merseyside.
Why not?
Because you run out of electricity on the way.
No, rubbish.
What happens if on the motorway
rubbish.
you suddenly say, I'm down to the last 10 miles,
Absolute rubbish.
but the next service station, which has one electric pole and a queue 3 miles long of cars trying to electrify themselves, right?
Imagine the scenario, and then I'll let you think about this while we take a little short break. Imagine a scenario where there's no more petrol stations, right? So each petrol station, where there is now a petrol station, becomes a charging point. So you go there and you charge your car while you have a cup of coffee, and then you carry on.
No, you don't, because there won't be enough electricity to serve all the cars.
Of course there will.
You know there'll be a massive great bang.
How many do you think? I mean, how many of you said we've got 40 million vehicles on the road, right?
Yes.
When you get to a petrol station on the M6, do you find a queue of 100 miles? No. Even though there's only the ability to serve maybe 12 cars at a time, there is no queue.
No, because there's plenty of petrol in there, but there's not enough electricity in this country.
Yeah, there is.
To power cars.
I'm going to have to get an expert on to explain it to you. But if in the meantime anyone else would like to explain it to me, by all means give us a call.
Yeah.
I want to hear your explanation to where all this electricity is coming from. 08717 22 3344. Perhaps we'll just hook Porky up to a generator. This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Now in the street there is violence, and lots of work to be done. No place to hang out, no washing, and then I can't stay all on the sun. Oh no, we gotta rush down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics, and of course, coming up a little bit later on, Porky Vision will be here. It'll be the full unadulterated version because there's an awful lot of stuff going on. Plus, Porky is waving about in his hot little hand an awful lot of envelopes and cards and presents and all kinds of stuff, which appears to have been flooding in whilst we have been away.
Postman Porky.
I mean, I've got a couple of people being quite rude about, where the hell have you been? Those kind of questions. To which I said, we've only been off since Saturday,
That's right.
I mean, we take the 3 days off and all hell has broken loose.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about what we've been doing, obviously,
Indeed.
in the meantime. I spent quite a bit of time lying about in the sun,
Yes.
which was great.
I spent a lot of time on the chiropractor's
oh, did you? Yeah, how
bench.
is the old? We should get a sciatica update. What's going on? Because the last time I saw you, which was on Saturday, it seemed as though the effects of the manipulation you'd been for was beginning to pay off. And you were saying you were walking a little bit better.
I had another session this morning, face down on the old...
face down
on the...
not in the gutter for a change?
No, not in the gutter, no, on the...
Is this at the massage parlour?
No, I haven't been there yet.
Haven't you?
This is the chiropractor.
Oh, okay.
And he hits specific spots in your back, and all that kind of stuff.
Is it painful?
Yeah, it was very painful, but I don't mind... Pain for gain, it's pain for pain.
Pain for no gain.
You know what I mean? Yeah, pain for no gain. Absolutely right.
That's no good at all.
Yeah. So.
Well, I've been spending a lot of time in the swimming pool, which, of course, as you know, is not a massive swimming pool. It's an above ground.
Nice to have somewhere cold and wet to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just plonked myself into the rubber ring.
I didn't see you sending any pictures out of you posing in the pool with a cocktail in your hand.
I
Why
did.
not?
Well, there was. I don't know actually. I did the one the last time I was in there.
Yes.
With the old crocodile.
That's right.
The inflatable crocodile.
That's right. Yeah.
But I had quite a bit of. Funny enough, because we had a cocktail mixologist in on this show on Friday.
That's right. Yeah.
I got a bit of sort of inspiration.
Excellent.
Because I've got this liquor cabinet basically of stuff that I bought for Christmas.
A liquor cabinet.
Yeah. Which I bought for Christmas, and I've never drunk.
Right.
So I've got all sorts of stuff in there. Like I've got gin.
Yeah.
We had a friend come down on Saturday. She bought another bottle of gin.
Yeah, lovely.
Had some of that apple sour stuff. So I made this really nice. Gin and apple sour cocktail.
Sounds good.
With apple juice and lemonade.
Yep.
I then made a great one. I've got this stuff that somebody brought me for Christmas, which is like tequila-based coffee liqueur.
Lovely.
Mixed it with milk.
Yeah.
Over ice. Shook it in the cocktail shaker, and it came out kind of like Bailey's.
Yeah,
that was good.
Bailey's is one of my favourites. But I could drink it forever. It's dangerous to drink.
It is.
It's dangerous to drink. It's so easy to drink. And I used to love brandy something. Brandy... with something in it that tasted a bit like Bailey's.
Really?
Brandy...
Oh, Kahlua, you thinking?
No,
it's
brandy...
Black Russian, is it?
Like, I tell you what, I used to drink it in a bar on the corner of my street in New York, 77th and 1st. Right. And then one day I came round the corner expecting a couple of late-night brandy, whatever they were. Brandy Alexander. Brandy Alexander, thank you very much indeed. Brandy and cream.
That's not a coffee thing, though.
It's cream. It's cream. And it had been shut. And there were all notices in the window, and it basically indicated that this was suspected to be a mafia joint where money was being laundered on a regular basis.
Well, why would they shut it down? I mean, half the places in New York are like that.
Exactly. And the proprietor and all his workers have been arrested and taken away and closed till further notice.
By the way, a quick announcement on that. We are going to the City Winery in New York on September the 16th.
We certainly are.
Now, all the VIP tickets for the moment have been sold.
We'll have to get some more.
So we're going to put some more on.
Yeah, we'll have to.
So if you're looking for VIP tickets, stay with us and we'll get you them.
Yep.
You can all still get ordinary tickets as well, though.
Yes.
So we'll bring you updates on all of that. Go to our website, the2mics.co.uk.
Please do. And remember, you don't have to be there. It's been great. It'll be great to see you. It'll be a great trip and a great mission. We're all looking forward to it in autumn in New York.
Yeah.
But if you can't get there, you can watch it live in your own living room.
In the comfort of your own home.
If you've got a nice new smart TV, you can watch it just like you were, picking up the World Heavyweight Boxing Championship on subscription.
Exactly right.
Except it's much cheaper, £5.99.
Live streamed. That's right. It's all available on the website. Anyway, let's talk to John, though, who's down in Brighton, because he's got something to say about electric cars.
Excellent.
John, a very good morning to you.
Hello, Mike.
Yeah, hi, John.
John, what have you got to say to us, mate?
Hello to the Birmingham lover boy that is Mike Parry.
Yeah, well, that's true. I've been called that.
He loves many parts of the country.
Yes,
they don't all love him back.
Yes. Yeah, go on. Yeah. Can you stop laughing and start talking, John?
A serious show, this, you know.
Electric cars, right?
Yeah.
Think about it, Mr. Parry. Think about the upsides. You won't have to pay road tax. The electric will be for nothing.
No, it won't.
Okay.
No, it won't.
If you buy a Tesla right now, you get free electricity for it.
Where from?
Exactly.
From all the points that Tesla has set up around the country.
Oh, you mean from the two poles,
No,
in
the
2 square miles round
It's
here?
a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that, isn't it, Mr. Graham?
It is indeed. But Porky, see, he only goes to 2 places in London, and he's only ever seen 2 of these posts.
Yeah.
Excuse me, how much is it?
Stock exchange around the corner from Canary Wharf, doesn't it? And that's it. Yeah.
Hang on, how much is a Tesla car compared to a Ford Mondeo?
Well, a Tesla car...
About 3 times as much.
Yeah.
Well, give it, 4 years' time? 3 times less?
Yeah. No, it won't. No, it won't.
I mean, how much do you think the first Volvo electric car is going to cost? A lot less than a Tesla.
No, yeah, okay, it might, but a lot more than a car.
Anyway, why don't we let John
It's
speak?
going to cost a lot less than a flaming Tesla.
It's going to cost a lot less than a Jaguar F-Type that he wanted to buy as well.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. His Rolls Royce and his limo.
Yeah.
Listen, John, are you trying to make a point here about something? Because if you are, can you start?
Yeah, come on, John, get on with it. We've got another couple of calls to take.
What I'm trying to say is quite easily, stop panicking, Mike Parry, and just go with progress.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Embrace it, Mike, because I'll tell you what, it's going to make your life a hell of a lot easier.
No.
I agree. I agree. I got in a Tesla. I think I told you this. Thanks, John, for kicking us off there. I got in a Tesla coming back from Sky one time.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. It's a lovely car to be in. It's big. It's got plenty of room.
Yeah.
It's the kind of car you'd enjoy driving.
What sort of noise does the engine make?
Makes no noise.
Well, you see, that's dangerous.
No, it's not.
You'll knock people down on crossings and all sorts of things if they can't hear cars coming.
You are literally like the harbinger of doom.
No, not
As
at all.
I was saying, waving Christopher Columbus away, saying you'll fall off the end of the world.
No,
let's
not
talk to Phil, who's also a motoring journalist, actually. Phil, very good morning to you.
Oh, it is good morning. Yeah, it is now, isn't it, I suppose? I've been driving on the road for a while.
Have you?
Yes, good morning.
Are you driving an electric car, Phil?
I'm sadly not. I'm in my petrol-powered little roadster, just driving back from Gatwick to Manchester.
Right.
Okay.
But I'm fairly well-versed in the topic as a motoring journalist.
Okay.
There's a few things that should be cleared up, though. Firstly, we're not going to run out of electricity because... obviously, there is X amount of power sources, stations.
Yeah.
But the beauty of electricity is it's a renewable source that can be harnessed through the beauty of solar power.
What a load of rubbish. What a load of... How long have we been trying to...
He knows about the subject.
How long have we been trying to make cities come alight at night with solar power gathered during the day? And how often does it work, John?
And how long? It's Phil, but
Phil.
how long is how long have cars been powered? How something so important as cars been powered by electricity? Realistically, it's been the last 5 years. We're in the very early stages of using electric cars.
Yeah, but we've been trying to make solar power work for decades, Phil. come off it.
Well,
What is
only one
generated? What is generated in this world by solar power? I'll tell you what, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That's
okay?
not true.
How much power do these windmills provide for one city? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay?
I think it was. It might have been Sweden, perhaps Amsterdam, ran for a whole month solely on solar panels, solar power this year. And again, this is at a point where cars aren't even necessarily running off them. But I think the other thing is, it's not going to be the death of petrol-powered cars, because the fact of the matter is people enjoy driving petrol-powered cars. Diesels will be on the way out, because fundamentally nitrous oxides put out through diesel cars will...
the problem with diesel is that an awful lot of people have bought diesel cars, and there's a great many of them still in circulation.
Exactly.
Because everyone was told that was the best car to get because it was less polluting.
You can thank Gordon Brown for that. Thank Gordon Brown. Yeah?
Oh, your political views are getting very out of hand today.
No, they're not. I've criticised David Cameron.
He's entitled to his opinion,
Hang on, Phil. Just get this right. I've criticised David Cameron, Tory Prime Minister. I've criticised Gordon Brown, Labour Prime Minister. I've criticised Chris Hoon, the crook, who was a Lib Dem. So I'm criticising everybody across the political...
You haven't done UKIP yet.
I'm not saying you're wrong. But you're being very vocal about it.
Well, listen, Phil, let me ask you, in your capacity as a motoring journalist, Volvo, will they have shocked the motoring business by announcing this? A lot of newspapers in this country taking it very seriously. It's on the front page of at least two of them this morning. Are the rest of the motoring sort of companies going to follow suit, or are they going to hang tight and try and stick with petrol?
Interesting question. I think it varies very much on the manufacturers. So Ferrari have said they have no interest in electric-only cars. I know we can't all afford Ferraris, but you've also got things like hot hatchbacks, which are doing very well. I've just come off the Peugeot 308 GTI launch, which is a lovely little hot hatch, which is coming in a couple of months, and they're always going to be powered by petrol, but with you've got to look at the three of the four most powerful cars in the world right now are already hybrids. Yeah. You've got the McLaren P1, the LaFerrari, and the Porsche 918, and this is all very early in the sort of hybrid technology era. There's a lot more to come, and I think it's a very exciting time for cars. It's definitely not the end of the motoring industry.
I think it is. Like I said, I've got my car for another 2 years or 2.5 years. I'd be very happy to get my next car would be an electric one. Very happy.
You won't get me an electric car, mate. I tell you what, I'd sooner be in the electric chair than an electric car.
Well, that's your decision. Have you been out in one? Have you taken one for a spin?
What, the electric chair? No, I know what you mean. No, the electric car. Yeah. No, I haven't.
I think maybe we could do a Porky poll on that. Would you rather see Porky in the electric chair or an electric car?
That's very harsh. Very harsh.
I really recommend just going out and taking one for a spin. It will really change your.
I've been in one of those Priuses. I've been a passenger in one of those Priuses, and it is spookily. And by the way, I've noticed that people who drive these cars that have no engine noise are in themselves very odd people.
Well, that's because of their cab drivers. You just don't like them.
Well,
that's a bit harsh. Listen, Phil, thank you very much indeed for putting us straight on some facts there. Phil, a motoring journalist there, got a nice plug-in for his Peugeot trip that he just did. He says that three of the most powerful cars around at the moment are actually electric cars. So, it's the tide is turning, matey. Yeah. Should we do this rather bad taste poll or not? I don't know. We'll come back. This is Talk Sport. Got lots of interest in running a poll on whether to put you in an electric chair or an electric car.
OK, I don't mind if you run that poll.
I don't mind running it.
It'll be taken in the spirit it's meant,
absolutely right.
Yeah.
For example, I've got this from Lizzie, who says, no such thing as bad taste poll. It's a nighttime show. Would love to vote on it. Toast Porky.
Hey, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? Toast Porky.
All right, we'll put that up in a minute. How about this from Tom, who says, Mike, we do love your show. Please wish my wonderful wife, Frankie, a happy 31st birthday. Cheers, Tom.
Frankie is the wife.
Frankie is the wife.
As
in Frankie.
Frankie.
Yeah. Was that about a woman or a man, though?
That was about a man, because there was a woman singing about a Frankie. This
Frankie
is a female Frankie, 31 years of age.
That's right.
It's a great age, Frankie. Happy birthday and have a great life. Now, great message here. Just shows that people are taking it as cynically as me.
Yeah.
Steve very happily tweets this. Electric cars should have a big pole on the back like Dodgems, so when there's a thunderstorm, they can recharge from the lightning. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, be cynical about it like me, because it's never going to work.
Here's Andrew, who's almost as much of a Luddite as you. He says, MG's going nuts. We don't have 2 hours to wait until our cars are charged. I'd rather fill up mine with petrol in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, good luck filling up yours with petrol in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
The point is, there are too many cars in this country. I'm going to tell you a story about my journey in tonight. Too many cars, too much roadworks.
Right.
You know, what we need to do is reduce the number of cars and reduce the number of cars on the road by making more of them electric. That'd be a good thing. Let's talk to Tom.
Let's do that.
Who's a physics student, right? He's going to explain to you about how solar panels work.
Oh, a student smarty pants, is he?
Tom, very good morning to you. Thank you for calling. What would you like to say?
Hi, Tom.
Hi, guys. Basically, just that earlier you commented about what solar panels are used for and how many uses are there in cities, etc.
Yes.
Basically, everything. So, satellite TV, satellite phone, the internet, all of that is only made possible by satellites being able to use solar panels to keep in orbit around the Earth.
Yeah, but there's solar panels in space, Tom. I'm talking about... Listen, if you get on the train from the northwest, Manchester or Liverpool, down to the south, at one point in the Midlands, you pass all these fields, field after field, with all these solar panels.
Well, they must be powering something.
And farmers have turned over agriculture to solar panel farming. Now, what is all that used for, Tom? Because I don't know anywhere where it's used.
Well, it will come with investment. The solar panels that you're seeing now obviously being used privately to generate money from the electricity, help towards the overall electricity supply.
But it's very expensive to produce when you're putting huge panels over acres and acres and acres of ground.
I don't think it is.
And they've got to be, it is massively expensive.
No, the only reason it's expensive at the moment is because the investment isn't there, because it's not being widely accessible to everyone. It hasn't been recognised as a viable solution at this time. And
also, Tom, you'll know as well as I do that if you go out to somewhere like Death Valley in California or parts of the Saharan desert in Africa, they've got acres and acres and acres, square acres of these solar panels, which generate an awful lot because of the heat.
Well, yeah. Well, like I say, those are the sorts of things that would improve with investment and time. The second that is invested in a global scale, and all the companies that are producing cars start to invest in solar technology, the technology will improve.
Yeah, but you see, the point is you need a country like Abu Dhabi to make solar powers work. It can't possibly work on 3 months of, fairly warm sunshine in this country. We've tried everything. We've tried these ridiculous windmills which scar our landscape. We've tried putting booms into ports and to harbours to try and harness wave power. Nothing works. What does work are coal-fired power stations.
Oh, calm down.
They work.
I completely disagree. It just hasn't been done on the sorts of scales that you're thinking has been.
Yeah.
It's not being done.
Yeah. So, Tom, I thought you were going to prove what was the worth of solar panels by coming on here. You haven't really done that.
All of the internet, all of phones.
Yeah, but that's all from space, as you just told us.
What do you mean, all of the internet? What do you mean by that? When I'm powering the internet on my mobile device right now, it's got nothing to do with solar panels.
The only way you're able to get any signal from that is pings coming off satellites.
Satellites, but again, it's space, man. It's in space, and
the power isn't coming from space. The power's coming from the sun.
Yeah, okay, well that's right. But the sun hits satellites because satellites are outside the Earth's atmosphere, and the Earth's atmosphere filters the sun. But the raw sun in space is 1 million times more powerful than the sun on Earth.
Not at all.
It is.
Not at all.
He's a physics student.
Yeah, you might be a physics student, but I've lived longer, so I know these things. Okay?
Tom, come on, it's your last chance. Prove to us that solar panels are the future.
Well, when you're saying how expensive it is to set up, when cars were first invented at a global scale in the early 1920s, of course they were expensive for people to get because they were so rare.
Yeah, exactly.
So weren't mass-produced. And the second, as I say, it is mass-produced, and the second it is invested in, it will become cheaper. It will become more widely accessible.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So Tom basically says it will be like the original setting up of cars in the world, where nobody really could afford to have one apart from the very wealthy.
Yes.
Same with electric cars. Electricity for the cars will become cheaper. The cars themselves will become cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean, how about this from Abioi? Who he's over in cloudy Bangkok, he says. I mean, in Dubai, some buildings now provide charging docks for electric vehicles. So, it's beginning to happen everywhere around the world.
Yeah, but it's beginning to happen because people are falling for the contract.
The one thing,
everything electric good,
no.
everything petrol bad.
Well, because the one thing you do know and you can predict is that at some point in the future, the fossil fuel will run out. And that's why they're looking for alternative fuels.
It won't.
Well, you think there's plenty of petrol, do you?
Can I tell you this? Since the day I was born, I was told, well, I don't know what we're going to do when all the oil runs out in the Middle East.
Yeah.
All I do, we're going to go to fracking, or we're going to find oil in Russia, or we're going to find oil in Nigeria or Venezuela, or underneath the Arctic.
Found oil in Venezuela.
Exactly,
and
or
Nigeria.
underneath the Arctic and Antarctic ice caps. That's exactly.
Right.
The world is awash with oil.
So you're not worried
The
about...
world is awash. Why do you think the price of petrol's going down?
So you're not going down?
Yes.
Where?
The price of petrol is going down.
Where? I'm not paying any less for it.
It is going down.
Must be joking.
Well, you're not looking properly.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, how about the fact that you don't mind the sort of ruination of drilling platforms in the Antarctic and the Arctic?
Yes.
But you don't like the idea of a windmill being put up next to the M6?
Yeah, but when you put up a windmill near the M6, I drive past it.
Yeah.
So it affects me personally.
Right.
I have no intention of going with a pair of binoculars to the Arctic Circle
Really?
just to view...
Well, not even to look at the polar bears.
Just to view an oil derrick,
Really?
which nobody ever looks at, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You're not scarring a landscape that nobody ever looks at, are you? It's another fictitious rumour and nonsensical fact put forward by people who basically want to change the Earth.
Well, they don't want to change the Earth. They just want to make the Earth last a little bit longer and be a little bit cleaner.
Well, the Earth's going to last a long time anyway. They're wasting their time, honestly.
Stephen says this. Christ, MG, how much Red Bull has Porky been on? He's hyper. Tell him to slow down.
9.
Only 49% of his heart works. And Ross says, I'm looking at a Tesla, Mike. Join the electric revolution and tell Porky to reconstruct.
No way.
We've got loads more of your
No
texts
way
and
am
your
I going to
tweets.
fall into this ridiculous sort of mass, I mean, honestly, people are sleepwalking into a future which is just going to be ruinous, completely ruinous.
Here's one from Guna Ray.
We'll have no power. There'll be no lights on.
Yeah, that's rubbish. You've been saying that for every single year, I think, that we've been doing a radio show together, that there's going to be some blackout coming in the winter.
It's getting
and
closer.
It never happens.
It's getting closer.
Porky is right about the infrastructure for electric vehicles in London, says Guna Ray. Black cabs are supposed to go electric from next year, but there aren't anywhere near enough charging points. Clueless Mayor and TfL.
Thank you very much.
Well, you can blame them for an awful lot of things in the city, actually, at the moment.
Yeah.
Billy says, how long does it take to fill a car with petrol? 10 minutes. How long is it going to take to charge a car with electricity? Well, again, Billy, these are the sort of things that people said before the world changed.
Yeah.
Maybe at the moment you have to plug your car in overnight in order to get it up to full capacity.
So you're saying within 6 years
I'm saying within certainly. I mean, look at the speed of technology that we've got now. 20 years ago, you couldn't have an iPhone, right? You could not do all the things that we can now do with this tiny little piece of equipment.
Sure.
By the same token, you couldn't really buy an electric car for anything less than about £250,000.
Yes.
Now it's getting cheaper. There will be easier and quicker ways of charging the car,
right?
And we will move forward because that's what technology does.
Okay, I read in a Sunday newspaper, and I don't know which one because I read them all, but this is a challenge to you to find out on your information device, that somebody who's producing electric cars, it might be Tesla, I'm not sure if it is already running out of the essential components of making batteries big enough for cars. And they're going to have to you're going to have to slow down in production.
Well, I've not seen that.
No,
anywhere.
Seriously, I mean,
again, all of that has to do with the newness of the technology.
Yeah.
As they get better at doing it, and as they get quicker at doing it, and as they find more efficient ways of making the stuff that they're making, it will get better and it will get cheaper.
But you see, you don't understand, Mike, because I'm a student of scientific history.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
But
history is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the future, not the past.
I'm just going to give you an example.
All right.
In the 1960s, Harold Wilson talked about the white-hot heat of revolutionary change.
Of the Industrial Revolution.
The white-hot heat of the modern Industrial Revolution, okay? He actually told us that in years to come, Royal Navy aircraft carriers will be powered by a nuclear block the size of an OXO cube.
Yeah, well, he's a politician, wasn't he? Told a lot of lies, like all politicians.
And guess what?
Yeah, well, they didn't do it, did they?
And guess what?
And they haven't got any planes.
Our new aircraft carrier, right, £3.5 billion, will not be running on a nuclear block the size of an OXO cube.
What will it be running on?
It will be running on diesel engines, right, which are so huge and so massive that they go over 4 stories of the ship, okay? So I don't think Harold Wilson got it right.
Well, Harold Wilson's not a scientist.
And in the very...
I wouldn't trust Harold Wilson with my my school lunch.
Harold Wilson was so bright, he got a tripos at Cambridge.
What?
First-class tripos.
Well, you could be as bright as you like at Cambridge. It doesn't mean you know how to make an electric car.
Which means he got a first-class honours in 3 different subjects.
Yeah, I don't care.
In his degree at Cambridge. So he's a very bright man.
Well,
came from Huddersfield Grammar
School. He's an academic. That doesn't make him practically brilliant, does it?
By the way, you know he never smoked a pipe until he became a contender.
When somebody told him that he should.
Yeah, for the leader of the Labour Party.
Well, he was another politician. They all thought smoke and mirrors.
They all thought he sounded a bit posh coming from Cambridge. So somebody gave him a pipe and said, look, next time you go on television or you're pictured in the newspapers.
Pretend you're a sort of rough northerner.
Yeah, rough northerner smoking with pipe.
Common sense and all that.
Common sense.
Not a load of rubbish.
Yes, where's me overcoat?
Well, it just goes to show
to me by that crook who went to jail.
Yeah, but he wasn't so smart that he didn't get mixed up with the guy that ended up in prison.
That's right.
With his Ganex coats, right?
Where's me Ganex Mac?
But also, like most politicians, he was slippery.
By the way, where's Lady Faulkner? Because she's got to draw up the lavender list of honours,
Yeah. So I mean, using him as an example is all well and good, but he is a politician, therefore a snake oil salesman. Therefore, he'll say anything he can, like the ones we got at the moment, to get elected.
All I'm telling you is he got it so badly wrong in those days.
But look at the
technology. But it's politicians who are pushing it these days.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's Elon Musk who's pushing electric cars.
Yeah.
And he is a very, very brilliant man.
And a billionaire to boot.
And
he wants to sell a few cars.
Yeah, well, he should be one of the people that you admire on the grounds that he's very successful.
Well, I would if he wasn't trying to, bring the world to a grinding halt and close down, the ability for me to switch on my lamp at home when I want to read my journals.
Well, you've got plenty of batteries in your spare drawer for the lamp, haven't you?
Well, the lamp should work from the plug in the socket. There won't be any electricity if every 40 million motorist in this country is sucking electricity out of poles in the street to use to drive their cars. There will be no electricity for my fridge freezer.
Well, you haven't got a fridge freezer anymore, have you?
Yeah, of course I have.
All right, this is TalkSport.
Got 2.
The Two Mikes, simulcast across the UK on TalkSport and Talk Radio.
Firing up the G-Funk, sipping on juice and gin. Just me and a friend, feeling kinda groovy, working on a movie. Yeah, right.
But we did nothing, absolutely but kids that day. And I'll say, what the hell am I doing drinking in LA at 26?
TalkSport, we are the Two Mikes. Lots and lots of great tweets coming in, of course. You can find us at the Two Mikes. Here's one from Rob. He says, I thought that a few days break Porky had would chill him out a bit. Instead, he's come back angrier and more aggressive than ever.
No, I have no anger. Anger is a weakness. I have no anger. I am completely in control.
Blaze says this, quoting you, there are acres and acres of solar planets. What are they for? Solar panels. What are they for? He says, to save the planet, you plank.
No, they're not saving the planet at all. Farmers are making vast fortunes by saying, I tell you, I'll stop growing wheat. Which is essential to the well-being of the world and certainly of this country, we'll give over that land to solar panels. And then what will happen is people will make fortunes out of putting solar panels down and flogging the minimal amount of power that you make from solar panels, particularly in the winter months, to the national grid. It's a con trick. The whole thing is a con trick, in my view.
Well, let's talk to Sandra Minetti, who's over in California, of course, in Hollywood, California, because they love electric cars over there. They love solar panels. They love saving the planet. Sandro, very good morning to you.
Greetings from across the miles, and yes, we do indeed. Lots to talk about.
Well, there is, I mean, before we get on to the celebrities themselves, I mean, I'm sure if you drive down towards sort of Death Valley, you get down to bits of Southern California, you can see, for as far as the eye can see, solar panels all over the place, can't you?
You can indeed, and also right here in Beverly Hills, where I live, solar panel houses are increasingly popular because it's all about sort of being modern and going with the solar panels. And talking of solar panels, triple-digit temperatures here in Los Angeles. Great stuff.
Sorry, when you say triple, what do you mean?
Well, you're talking Fahrenheit, right?
Yes.
So what are you talking?
I'm talking 127 in Death Valley, 100 here in Los Angeles.
100 in Los Angeles.
That's very warm for LA.
Hang on, if I was walking down the beach on Santa Monica front there, would it be 100 degrees now?
No, because it's always chillier by the water, but you'd still get plenty of sunburn.
Yeah, I know. Okay, but a bit more inland, it would be.
You'd be in the Lion's Head, wouldn't you?
I'd be in the Lion's Head,
the
definitely.
King's Head, rather.
Yeah, the King's Head. Yeah, sorry, the Lion's Head's in Manhattan.
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
No, it's not there
shut
anymore.
it down.
No.
It's where Jessica Lange used to be a waitress.
Now, Sandro, can I just ask you this, please? All these solar panels you've got all over the place in Death Valley and all that kind of stuff. If those solar panels work and it is as hot as you've just told us it is, then surely there would be enough electricity generated in that part of California to power the whole of the United States of America if it worked efficiently.
You would think so, and that great futurist Gene Roddenberry, creator of Star Trek, had the first solar-panelled house right here in Los Angeles, and that was very much his argument. But here we are 40 years on from where he bought it, and people are still making the same argument. But, it hasn't happened yet, but, we're all about the future here. They're currently planning to build a monorail over the busiest freeway in Los Angeles to try and alleviate the traffic. You can generally get anywhere in Los Angeles now in just 2 hours, and so they're hoping to cut down the commute with a monorail. So, solar powers, monorail, these kind of things have been talked about for...
Funnily enough, I was
years.
talking to my kids today because there was a traffic jam down on the south coast in Sussex, and, and we were sort of talking about how there were too many cars in this country, too many people in this country, and their mother said, why don't maybe when you grow up you should move somewhere where there's more room, and they said, what, like America? And one of them said Los Angeles. I thought, the traffic in LA is possibly the worst traffic I've ever seen in my life.
It is. Elon Musk has got an idea to build a very deep tunnel underground where the subway underground system goes and make everybody drive deep underground to beat the traffic. But no, this is the city of the motor car, and no one can fix the traffic problem. No one ever has been able.
That's not a bad idea. Now,
absolutely
my
right.
favourite story coming from you, Sandro, this week is one where Donald Trump finally gets some support from Lindsay Lohan, of all people.
Well, of all people, indeed. Lindsay Lohan has tweeted to her followers saying that it's time to stop criticising the president, stop bullying him, was her words, and start trusting him. And it's kind of surprising to me that she has come out as a big supporter of Donald Trump, because I remember a 2004 interview Donald Trump gave to Howard Stern when he described Lindsay Lohan as, quote, probably deeply troubled, but then again, deeply troubled women are the best in bed. So you would think...
So presidential of him.
Yeah, exactly.
So presidential of him, yes.
My favourite tweet of recent,
2004.
my favourite tweet of his from recent days is the one about Kim Jong-un when the news came out that he'd fired another missile, and his tweet actually said, "Has this guy got nothing better to do?"
Yeah.
Well, and everyone was like, "Well, how about you, Donald?"
Yeah. No, I think he's a terrific guy.
Trump?
Who?
You think he's a terrific guy?
For the way he uses his Twitter
I
account.
see.
I think as a President of the United States to get right to the heart of the people by... I mean, he's tweeting out things which you and I are talking about on a radio show at 1:52. That's how good he is.
Yeah.
Now then, what I was going to...
It'll be interesting to see what he tweets about Putin, because he's going to meet Putin face-to-face at the G20, and I'm sure he'll deliver his verdict in 140 characters or less. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, that is an amazing development. Now then, Sandro, I was going to say to you was, Ed Sheeran quits Twitter, right, because of a load of nasty comments. I mean, is this going to become a regular feature of the, La La Land's finest?
He's one of ours, isn't he?
I very much doubt it, because as you said before, it's the best way to communicate with the fans. But Ed Sheeran has said that his day can be ruined by one nasty comment, which comes as a surprise to me, because you need a thick skin to be in show business, and you should just ignore it. And he's clarified his comments by saying, well, what I'm doing, I'm not reading any more comments. I'm not reading anything except Harry Potter books. So he won't have read the tweet of support from Lady Gaga, who has basically done a Lindsay Lohan. She has basically said, stop criticising Ed Sheeran, let's get behind him, and let's make Twitter a place of positivity and love. Well, good luck with that, Gaga.
Yeah, well, that's never going to happen,
Positivity and love.
Yeah, I mean, positivity and love, two words you very rarely see anywhere near Twitter.
Yeah, but Sandro, have you ever seen a Twitter from Ringo Starr? It always ends in peace and love, or love and peace. I can't remember which
love
one.
and peace, exactly right.
And I sent Ringo a reply one night, and I said, Ringo, I've admired you all your life, but honestly, you've got to get out of the cocoon. Peace and love cannot save the world from its present problems. I didn't get a reply.
No, of course not. You never do you?
No.
You never get any replies from Liam Gallagher either.
Yeah, that's true.
I tweeted him and said Octopus's Garden should be a world peace anthem, but I didn't get a reply.
I think that's a great idea.
Very good.
Yeah.
Now, talking about the TV business, there's a new documentary coming out, isn't there? That presumably unfolds or unveils the mystery of Amelia Earhart's disappearance.
It was on July 2nd, 1937, that Amelia Earhart disappeared into the sky, and for 80 years everyone has thought she'd crashed into the sea. But now this new TV documentary airing Sunday presents a new image which suggests that she was captured and taken prisoner by the Japanese, who suspected her of being a spy for the Americans and using her plane as a spy aircraft. And there's a picture of her which purports to show her. We only see her from behind, surrounded by her captors, as her plane is supposedly dragged out of the sea at the Marshall Islands in the Pacific. And this theory is championed by former FBI Executive Assistant Director Sean Henry. So it's not like it's somebody like me with a theory. This guy's investigated it for years, and he reckons he's solved the mystery of Amelia Earhart, and he will tell more in a History Channel documentary on Sunday.
But Sandro, that would be at least the sixth theory I've heard about what happened to Amelia Earhart, because don't the Australians have a team of people, Earhart, who are permanently looking for her and claim to have found artefacts on another island, another remote island, which they say came from her plane.
There's another favourite theory of mine, that she faked her disappearance and lived on for 50 years as a housewife in New Jersey.
Yeah, well, Elvis could still be living and working in
no, he couldn't,
a hamburger bar in as you say, New Jersey or Atlantic City.
Haven't the Japanese got something to say about this? Has anybody asked them?
No one's asked them what they think.
No, probably nobody cares. I mean, the thing is, Sandro, there are still people in America who believe that a number of USAF airmen who went down in the Vietnam War and who are now still missing in action were actually shipped back to Moscow for interrogation by the Russians on all things American.
Yes.
Well, where do you stop with these conspiracy theories?
Exactly.
There's a conspiracy theory that Stevie Wonder is not really blind. And it's all a healthcare scam.
Yeah.
And this was started.
It's gone on for a long time, hasn't it?
It's worked well, that one. What about Taylor? Go on. What about Taylor Swift? What's she up to? Because we've only got about a minute left or less.
Well, Taylor Swift, maybe they'll find her like Amelia Earhart because she's completely disappeared. She's disappeared from public life for a year to concentrate on her career.
She hasn't been captured by the Japanese, has she?
Well, I worry. I mean, because her 4th of July party is always the social occasion of the year. The house
That's right,
is empty. There's no sign of her. She's only tweeted once in 6 months.
That's
it
right.
wasn't a negative tweet about Ed Sheeran. Maybe if they found Amelia Earhart, someone could find Taylor Swift. Let's ask the Japanese where she is.
And, of course, it wasn't Michael Jackson who died in that L.A. mansion. It was Bubbles, the monkey.
Right. There we
Michael
are.
Jackson wanted to start a new life.
Yeah, perhaps he did in Japan. Lots more to come. We are the two Mikes. This is Talk Sport.
Hello, this is Tim Vine on Talk Sport. It's Mike Parry's postbag. I can't wait to see what's in there.
Postman Pork, Postman Pork, Postman Pork, how he loves to talk about his sister's awning, so very, very boring. He fills the airwaves with his useless facts.
Postman Pork.
It is.
I didn't realise Postman Pork was coming up quite as quickly as this.
Well, it's not. This is just a trailer for it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we're doing it later in the show.
No, this is when we're doing it.
So when we're doing it?
Yeah, this is when we're doing it.
You absolutely sure about that?
Yeah, I thought so,
Right, OK.
Have you not got all the stuff for it?
I've got all the stuff here. Of course I have. I'm prepared for anything on this show, because that's what we do on this show.
Well, that's good, yeah.
We are so instinctive. Right, here we go,
Because
OK?
I thought we were doing it at 2:05.
Yes, you
but
did.
we were just being slightly, shall we say, distracted.
Distracted.
Before that happened.
Is probably the word.
Yeah.
Right, OK.
So what have you got for us?
Well, let's go. Postman Pork, 18 Hatfields, London. SE18DJ is the address.
Because that is the address if you want to send anything in.
Yes, and here's a parcel.
We haven't done one of these for a while, have
I've
we?
done for it, so there's a bit to go. Right, here we go. I'm pulling this one out with my bare hands, all right? A lot of masking tape.
Why wouldn't you pull it over with your bare
Well,
hands?
because the masking tape's so tough that it's sometimes difficult to get into. But
I
I'm
see.
into it now. Here we go.
Where's it from? Does it say where it's from on the back or anything?
No, not yet, because I haven't got into it, have
No,
I?
but sometimes it says it on the back. I'm just trying to help you out here.
No, you're
with
not trying
long
to.
periods of silence.
Okay, so what it is, it's a squeezy bag.
A squeezy bag,
Jiffy bag.
Yeah.
Wrapped in that masking tape I've been telling you about. But I'm
Yeah.
into the Jiffy bag now.
Okay.
Here we go. I'm through the Jiffy bag. And here we go. There's a letter.
A letter?
There's a letter. Oh, I'll tell you what it is. Right, here we go.
Yeah, go on.
It's an imitation packet
Yeah.
of Porky scratchings.
What, yours?
Well, mine are the best, in my opinion.
In your opinion?
But I'll tell you my opinion.
Has there been an independent taste test done? by
But
anybody?
somebody has sent me another sort of, well, I would call it an imitation, but I mean, it's a reputable
Oh,
packet.
those are the original ones, aren't they?
Well, these are some, but anyway, listen. What
They've
we're
been
doing,
around for longer than yours.
I'm going to shake those to show you it's pork scratchings, and then listen to the next sound.
Yeah.
That was them hitting the bin. Okay? That's my view.
Is there not a note with them?
There's a note with them. It
Yeah.
comes from Richard.
Yeah.
And it says, from Richard Stevenson in Leeds.
Right.
And his name's Retro Ringo. Has he texted us tonight, Retro Ringo?
Retro Ringo?
Did he tweet
I
us?
don't know.
Thought he did. Anyway,
Not that I know.
Postman Paul, Porky. Whilst perusing my local German discount retailer... German discount retailer?
Yeah, well, that would be Lidl or Aldi.
Oh, I
wouldn't
see.
it?
I found the enclosed packet of pork scratchings. Scandalously, they have named them... Oh, I'm not going to tell you what the name is, but
Yeah.
it's not Mike Porky Parry scratchings.
Right.
I feel I must bring this matter to your urgent attention for fear that the apoplectic rage that will ensue may well finish you off.
Oh, yeah.
Ensure Postman Pork is live streamed on Facebook just in case. Is this legal? Or have you been smarter than the average bear? Well, all I can say
it's
is...
not being live streamed on Facebook.
No,
is
it's
it?
not being live streamed. All I can say to you, Rich, is that thank you very much indeed for notifying me. I was aware of it. I would regard those as a pale imitation of the real thing, which, of course, is Porky Parry scratchings, OK?
Yeah.
Right, let's get to the next one.
OK.
This is addressed to Postman Pork and Mike Graham. So this is a joint effort.
Oh, it looks like a card.
It's a card.
Quite exciting.
And it's in a lime green package.
Yes.
And it says thank you inside, OK?
When you say lime green package, it's an envelope.
An
isn't it?
envelope, lime green envelope.
Yeah.
But it's slightly bigger than an envelope. Anyway.
Well, no, it's just a big envelope.
OK, the big envelope. Now just shut up and let me get on with it.
Well, I'm trying to help you.
Right. It says thank you on the front.
Yeah.
And then I open it and it says it's from...
Who is it from?
It's from Sayers Common, which is...
Sayers Common,
Yeah,
where's
which is
that?
near you in West Sussex.
Is it? That's not near me.
Well,
I'm in East Sussex.
OK. Anyway, listen, I'm opening it now because
Yeah.
there's a paperclip inside.
OK.
Thank you very much. And it says here, well, first of all, the card says, to the both of you, to the two Mikes, fantastic, funny, informative, wonderful show.
Yeah.
Love and best wishes, Caroline and Pete
OK.
Cook.
Peter Cook.
Yeah, Caroline and Pete Cook.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it says Caroline with a cross, and then, yeah, their name is Cook. So it says here, as said with card, thank you, such a great show, you make me smile, and Pete, my wonderful husband, roar with laughter, ho, 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 which is absolutely fantastic for me to hear, so that's a double thank you.
Yes.
But please, guys, I need your help. Won't bore you with the full story, but 30-odd years ago, my early teens, my wonderful husband Pete has spent a married life caring. Sorry, pork scratching. Sorry, Mike, not the porky scratchings this year. I will, of course, fully understand if this is not possible. And then Caroline asks us
What?
for help with a personal problem that she's having.
Let's have a look. That doesn't make any sense at all.
She asks us for help
sort
with
of personal problem?
Well, you know, not for some discussion really to the wider audience. Okay, so here
Okay.
we go. Here's another letter to the two Mikes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to open this
All right.
one. And it says Postman Pork and the two Mikes. Let me open this. Thank you very much. Right, this is from... Let me have a look here. Here we go.
Yes.
It's from...
Caroline Crook, her name is.
Yeah, that's right.
Not Cook.
Well, I thought it might be Crook. Right, dear Porky, this is from Belfast. It's from
Belfast.
Peter. Have you ever been to Belfast?
Yeah.
I love your radio show. Now on time wasting, their idea is a load of baloney in many games. There is 97 on 98 minutes. He's talking about the FA.
What's he talking
He's
about?
talking about FA time wasting. Some games go to 97 on 98 minutes, right? It's a very long letter from Pete.
It's taking about 90 minutes to read the letter out.
Yeah, we haven't got time to read it all. But anyway, he says, forget about throw-ins, the game should be cleaned up.
Right.
And that's great, and we'll read a lot of that later. Thank you very much indeed, Pete. Right, here, letter to Postman Pork. So
Okay.
we'll open this, OK?
Yes.
That's all it says on the front.
Yeah.
The address again to everybody, 18 Hatfields, London.
Yes.
SC18DJ.
Yeah.
I take out a piece of folded exercise paper. Dear Porky and your colleague, I'm writing to
Dear
inform me-
Porky and your colleague.
Yes, that's right.
It's a bit harsh.
OK. I am writing to formally invite yourself and Mr. Graham to an all-day drinking session for the celebration birth of one Danny Kay, my brother and huge fan of the two Mikes.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so if your brother's one... Oh, no, your brother's just been born. You must be quite old then, I suppose.
Why would he be old? He can't be very old, can he?
No, if his brother's just been born...
Well, he must be quite young, you mean?
Well, no, I mean, he could be 18. His mother could have married
18.
the second time.
Yeah, well, 18 is young, isn't it?
Anyway, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, much older than your brother. That's what I meant.
Well, yeah.
So anyway, it'll be on Saturday, the 9th of December, and take place in the beautiful city of Chester. I'm writing this far in advance as you're both busy men, especially Porky, who has never had a day off in his life. Also, I'd like to apologise as I was hoping to attend your New York show, but my significant partner has unfortunately fell pregnant and won't be able to... Well, that's happy. She's
not giving birth to his brother, is she?
No, I don't quite understand this.
Sounds very complicated.
It's an all-day drink session for the sorrow of birth mother. Right, this is... It's a birthday celebration. It's not a birth celebration.
Right.
I've worked that out.
So he's not one?
No, because he says his brother, who's one, who I thought was one. He's not one.
No.
He's much older.
How old is he?
And he's bought a ticket for New York.
Right.
So, I don't know, it doesn't say. But anyway, look, thank you very much indeed. That's from Paul Way, I think.
Can I have a look at that? No way.
No, yeah. Yeah, that's right, yeah, no way, yeah. Right, here's a package. It comes from Matthew Parker in Birmingham.
It's a celebration of the birth of one Danny Kay.
Yeah, okay.
My brother, which means his birthday.
Okay, well, I thought he might have just been born.
Not his actual day of birth.
Okay, well, don't worry. I'm getting into this new package now. Okay, it's one of those damned bubble wraps again. Oh, here we go. Look, I've opened it. Just like that. Right, it's a book inside.
Yeah.
Looks very nice, thank you. And a note, let me see. The book is The Hedgerow Handbook.
Oh, great.
Recipes, remedies and rituals.
Yes.
Looks great, doesn't it?
Well, we like hedgerows, don't we?
Yeah, we certainly do like hedgerows. Right,
There's
there we go.
There's a bustling one, particularly.
Yeah, okay, and let me have a look what it says here. Right, this is from Matt from Birmingham.
Okay.
Hope it's not the Matt we used to know from Birmingham.
Is he asking for money?
Well, I'm afraid that he went off the straight and narrow. I enjoyed your discussion on hedgerows a couple of months ago, so I thought you might like this book, The Hedgerow Handbook by Adel Nazadar. The writer has included a personal dedication to you on the inside cover. No,
oh, really?
Can't be right,
well,
no.
they've got something to actually...
here we go.
Initiate.
To Porky, keep up the good work. Best wishes, Adel Nazador, who wrote the book.
There's a kiss as well.
Yeah, there's a kiss. It's a personal dedication.
Check her out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much. I'm passing this over to old MG because he's the man who does all the recipes round here, so you'll find something there. Right, for the two mics, here's
That's really nice that he's got her to write in that.
Well, it's very nice indeed. Thank you very much indeed.
You should spend a bit more time with this
one. Well, I think it's very nice to see. Right, now
this book, it says, is for everyone who understands the simplicity of living in the moment and who can appreciate a nice hedge when they see one.
Right, okay.
Can you appreciate a nice hedge when you see one?
Yeah, I love a hedge. I love a hedge.
I like a hedge.
Love hedges.
Yeah.
I think hedges make the countryside.
As long as it's not overgrown.
Right, here we go. Now then, this has come from a chap called Steve.
Steve?
He came to the show in Rugby.
Did he?
He said it was an awesome night in the true sense of the word.
Yeah.
And he runs a design company, and he has sent us some absolutely marvellous cards.
Cards?
For instance, have a look at that one. It's an advert for our show in New York City.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful.
That's great, isn't it?
And on the other side, have you seen, I saw the two mics live in 2017.
Wow.
Absolutely wonderful, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got a note from him, but then he's also sent us some postcards, which we could even take to New York, which shows us playing there, and then some business cards.
How extraordinary.
Absolutely wonderful. I've got to get back to this boy because he's done an awful lot of hard work on this.
That's
and
brilliant.
It's very, very kind of him.
That is really good.
And yes, that has got to be taken further, so I want to say a big thank you.
Very creative.
Very creative indeed. Steve, we're going to take a picture of those and put them out tonight on our on our Twitter account, okay?
That's brilliant.
Which is very good indeed. Thank you very much indeed. That's very useful indeed. Right, got another one here. It says... Porky and Mr. Graham.
Yeah.
So it's Porky Parry Post. Let me have a look here. Very quickly get this open. Here we go. Right, this is a cutting from a newspaper. Beating back pain. Well, thank you ever so much. That has come from... That's come from... It says P.S. Hope It makes Porky better, and good luck on the Porky scratchings. I don't actually know who this comes from because it just says P at the end.
All right.
But I want to thank you very much for thinking about me on my back trouble. One small parcel, which I'm opening it here, Mike. It's addressed to both of us. Please forward to the two mics. And it's a book called Storyland Time, Bedtime Stories.
Yes.
And it seems to be directed towards your youngsters, but I think they're probably
Are you
grown
sure?
a bit too old for this now.
Yeah.
Dear Porkmeister, Mr. Graham, would no doubt receive hundreds of letters of hoping you can spare a few minutes to read this one. Prototype book of children's stories that myself and my partner have had made.
Yeah.
Well, it's lovely. It's a lovely book. Thank you very much indeed. Young MG's young children have sort of outgrown it, but we'll make sure it goes to somebody who will appreciate it very much. We have friends with young children. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's from Nick Hall, and he's from the Isle of Wight.
Is he?
So you've probably seen it in his binoculars at the Porky Parry Penthouse.
Yeah, he's probably got
in
them trained
Gosport.
on Gosport.
I would
see
imagine
there was
so.
another major crime there the other day.
Sorry?
See, there was another major crime there.
No major crimes happening.
Yeah,
in
there
Gosport.
was. No, somebody was stabbed.
No,
really badly.
No.
Terrible place.
No, it's crime
anyway,
free,
that
so.
was Postman Paul.
Certainly was.
Thank you very much indeed. There will be another one, perhaps same time next week.
Yeah, I hope
It's Talk
so.
Sport.
Yeah, bye. Postman Pork, I eat my chips with just a fork, 'cause then I can still talk.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Crazy, but that's how it goes. Millions of people living as hobos.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. Coming up a little bit later on, we're going to be talking tennis, of course, because Andy Murray got through. And also, according to some of the papers this morning, it was a bit of a red letter day for British tennis, because you've got historic day at Wimbledon as 4 Brits make the third round for the first time in 20 years. But, they've still got to make it through from the third round to the fourth round. So
Indeed, they
we
have.
shall see. Stephen has sent in very kindly a picture of Adele Nozidar, who is the author of that book,
yes.
The Hedgerow Handbook.
That's right.
She
Personally signed to me.
Personally signed to you.
Thank you ever so much.
And asking you, what do you think, Porky? I think she looks rather nice, doesn't she?
Well, a very attractive young lady, but obviously very talented and knowledgeable.
She knows her hedges.
To have written a book about hedgerows, that's absolutely right. So I want to say a big thank you indeed. Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a text here from someone who doesn't give a name, who says this. So you don't read out texts anymore? Blimey, I must be getting old.
No.
Well,
It
we
doesn't.
do read out text,
Yeah, of
but
course we
also
do.
it'd be better if you put your name on it, then we'll be able to tell you exactly why we do read or do not read it out.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, I've got this from Chris, who sends in the new Tesla Model 3 just got announced, starting price $35,000. So they're starting to come down in price, as you can see.
Yeah, that's not that expensive.
No, it's not. But that's an
I've,
electric. That's what I'm saying. It's an electric car.
I've
which
been
is
lining
getting
up
cheaper.
my new car today. I'm no longer... Have I made this announcement
What's
yet?
that?
I can no longer have the F-Type Jag.
Well, you told us, I think, this story last week.
Did I?
I think on the warm-up show.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can tell us again if you want.
Well-
you can tell every other story about 58 times.
Well, no, the point is that the angle
it's
of...
due to your, basically...
sciatica.
Not just sciatica, but your ageing aging
No, it's not my
which
ageing
can no
frame.
longer be crushed into a small sports
It's
car.
the sciatica, and I was warned by an expert that the angle of the seats as they go back towards the steering wheel, the seat itself, is acute, and I'd be better off getting a
You want a
saloon
right angle,
car.
don't you?
Eh?
Do you want a right angled seat?
Sort of
Like
90 degrees.
90
You're
degrees.
absolutely right, yeah.
So is acute not less than 90 degrees?
Oh, acute is about 70 degrees?
Yeah.
Right?
That's partly because the bottom part presses up rather than the back part pressing forward, right?
Yes, that's right, absolutely.
Something like that.
Yeah, something
because
like
you're
that.
so low down.
Yes, that's right.
I remember the first time I sat in a BMW.
Right.
It was one series, actually. It was one of those, quite small BMWs.
Yes.
That was the first time I'd ever noticed that you sit in a seat where the seat is kind of, lower at the back than it is at the front, if you know what I mean.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because that's the way those bucket seats are made. That's what you're describing. You're describing an acute seat.
Yes, but
70
funny
degrees.
enough, I'm now looking at a BMW with the purpose of them having a 90
but this
degree
is a small.
seat.
This is a small BMW.
Oh, I see.
The one you're looking at won't have that kind of seat because it's not a sports car. Do you know what I mean?
It's absolutely right. The car I'm looking at is described by some as the most technologically advanced car in the world.
Well, it would be. Otherwise, you wouldn't be looking at it, would you?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
It's got everything. And you can actually bark instructions to the car as you're driving.
Bark?
Yeah.
That'd be great for Ziggy.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah. Woof, woof.
He had a terrible day today.
Why?
We took him to the beach, right?
Right, yeah.
And he loves it. I mean, the tide was out.
Well, even with the sun.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
because he goes in the water, but he won't
Right.
swim.
Right.
He won't actually go in and swim. but he had a great time. But there was a couple of other. He likes to chase other dogs' balls.
Right.
I don't mean the
I
balls.
know what you mean. Yeah, but I mean, doesn't that cause
conflict?
conflict? Don't dogs have a bit of possession
Well,
factor
they
about
do.
their own ball?
They do. And there was this little nippy dog, right? And the owner's always very nice. They're like, he doesn't like anyone trying to take his ball. Anyway, so this dog bit him, right? Because he was trying to get a bit too close to the ball. And he made out this little yelping sound, right?
Sorry, the little dog bit Ziggy.
Ziggy, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not hardly.
Not really. No,
nipped him,
it nipped him,
Yeah.
So he was squealing around about that. Then the next thing that happens is a couple of dogs later.
Yes.
This third dog comes and takes a shine to him.
Yes.
And you know how some dogs won't give up.
Right.
Starts trying to mount him. And I'm saying to his owner, so he's barking up the wrong tree here.
Yes.
He's not going to get anywhere.
Yes.
And she said, he doesn't care about that. But they then sort of started falling and rolling about.
Yeah.
Because this other dog was being quite aggressive, and they were rolling about, rolled all over the picnic. So luckily we'd already eaten all the picnic because we had a barbecue down the beach. Knocked all the bags over. Looked, Ziggy had to run off.
So it was a bit of a riot going on.
It was a bit of a riot. Yeah, it was quite an exciting day at the beach. I have to say.
Yeah,
very pleasant.
What did you barbecue on?
Sausages.
No, but did you take a mobile barbecue?
No, we bought one of those disposable barbecues.
What?
You can buy disposable. What are you looking at me as if you've never heard of these things?
No, I haven't.
Have you never seen them in the supermarket?
How much do they cost?
A couple of quid.
What? Where does the power come from?
There's no power. You set fire to it.
You set fire to it? What do you mean?
You set fire to the charcoal inside a silver foil box, right?
Okay.
Right, and then you wait for the coals to go grey.
Right.
Yeah, and then you put the sausages on, cooks the sausages.
Yeah.
And then...
Then you throw it away?
Well, you throw it away, but you make sure it's gone out first. For example, I put it in the sea.
Yeah.
To put it out.
Oh, I see. To put the seawater to cool the coals.
Just cool the coals, yeah.
And then where'd you throw it? In a bin?
I threw it in a bin, yeah.
Good. How big is it?
It's about the size of that book.
So it's about the size of the sort of tray you might put into an oven, for instance.
Something like that, yeah.
And
great.
And they're mobile.
Well, you buy it. It comes in a cardboard box.
Oh,
it's only about 2 inches thick.
Yeah. So do you have legs with it to put it on legs?
It comes with a little wire basket.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And you throw that away as well.
Wow.
It's brilliant.
I
know you're not a fan of barbecues.
No, I'm not a fan of
barbecues.
barbecues.
You've been taking some flack today because you were suggesting that people should buy your porky scratchings for the barbecue.
Yes, that's right.
And everyone's going, hang on a second, I thought you didn't like barbecues.
No, it doesn't matter. I don't want to spoil other people's pleasure. I mean, a card of porky scratchings is quite a novelty when the beer is swilling and the sausages are sizzling.
This barbecue thing would be great for you on the old roof garden, the porky roof garden,
Sounds good, yeah.
Because you put it, you set it on the patio, or whatever.
Yes.
Right, and you don't have to do anything. You just all you do is you light the paper. It lights the barbecue.
Yeah.
You can make hamburgers. You can make sausages. Anything you like.
Sounds good.
It's barbecue for one.
Now, listen, just talking about dogs, I've got a fantastic dog story.
Have you?
It's beautiful.
Okay.
Right. There's a giant St. Bernard dog.
Yeah.
And when it was very little, right, it was chasing a ball, like you've just said. And it chased a ball into a pool.
Right.
But it was so young, it didn't realise that water didn't have any substance to it.
Okay.
And it nearly drowned.
Okay. Oh, actually, that was a bit I forgot to tell you about Ziggy. At one point, he ran.
Right.
And there was a little pool of water, which looked like it was very shallow.
Yes.
And he ran all the way through it and suddenly hit this big sinkhole. He went right under.
Oh, dear.
It's completely, over his head.
But did he come out all right?
He came out,
yeah.
But he was a bit shocked.
But listen to this. A giant St. Bernard is taking swimming lessons to help him overcome a fear of water that left him scared of his own water bowl.
Yeah.
Logan, who weighs 70 kilograms, I mean, crikey, that's nearly as heavy as me, developed his phobia as a puppy when he chased a ball into a lake, not realising that he would have to swim. The incident left Logan, who is now 3, so traumatised that his owners, Miranda Henderson and Gordon Henderson, have not been able to get him into a bath since.
Right.
Logan even...
Well, they'd be in trouble getting a St. Bernard into a bath anyway, wouldn't
yeah, they would, yeah. Logan even jumps if his water bowl moves and he runs away from the hose pipe. So Mrs. Henderson eventually spoke to Logan's vet, who recommended swimming lessons.
Right.
Now, there's a lovely picture here of Logan now in a swimming pool with a rubber ring on.
Oh, that's
See?
nice.
Isn't that great?
That is nice.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens next is... she says after just three lessons, the couple say that they have noticed a huge improvement in their pet, who has gone from trying to escape from the pool to jumping in with his rubber ring on and swimming by himself.
Yes.
The Hendersons of Banbridge, Northern Ireland, said, we could never have imagined we'd be taking the dog for swimming lessons, but I'm so proud of him. Between the first and third sessions, you can see such a difference. He's gone from being a bit frantic and trying to grip the edge of the pool to actually swimming on his own. Yeah, grip the edge of the pool.
Do the backstroke?
Do the doggy paddle. At his first lesson, it was like he didn't even know how to doggy paddle. His back legs were moving like ours would do for breaststroke. It was so weird. You just assume that all dogs know how to swim, but not Logan. It's actually been quite stressful.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's scared of water since he almost drowned in Camlock Lake, County Armagh. In the summer of 2014, his phobia became even more of an issue when he developed a skin condition that requires regular washes.
Oy.
But anyway, just to sum up, Joe Mulholland, who runs the Hydrotherapy Centre, said he was a very, very nervous dog in his first few sessions, but he's making great progress. What a lovely story.
Good. Well, it's funny that, you see, because Ziggy won't go fully into the water. I mean, there was I took him down to the beach a couple of days ago.
Yes.
And there's always people down there. They throw the ball, goes into the sea. Proper dogs will run into the sea and go and get it and swim back with the ball. He will not go into the sea.
I see.
And I was talking to a guy about it.
He'll only go up to the level of his waist?
Yeah, he'll sort of go up where he can paddle.
After his legs, yeah.
But he won't. He's fallen in. He's kind of knocked over by a wave a couple of times, but he doesn't like it.
Right.
And a guy said to me, the only way you'll get him in the sea is if you go in with him. So he said to me, if you go in the sea, he will follow you.
Why don't you go in with them then?
Because I'm not going to swim in the English Channel. You must be joking.
Oh, you've never been in the water?
Yeah, I've been in the water there, which is why I wouldn't go in again. It's filthy. It's horrible.
Well, why can't you just walk into waist height and let?
Well, that's not because that wouldn't bring him in.
Let Ziggy.
No, this guy said you have to go all the way in and submerge yourself.
You've got to be swimming
because then he'll follow you in, and that'll be the way he does it.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that because though I've been down on the beach at Southsea, which is my local resort next to Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
a lot
like
of crime down there.
No, there's not.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
No, there isn't.
No, there's loads.
No, there's not.
You told me about it the other day.
No,
You
I've
told me
never
there was the guy who got stabbed by his wife.
No, that was in my block. That was because they were rowing about the investment property.
Yeah, but that's gospel.
Well, that's not Southsea.
No, it's gospel, though.
Well, we're talking Southsea. What I'm saying is, when you see, cross-channel ferries going in and out and warships, going in and out, you think, well, they must be expelling oil, really, from the bowels of the ship and all that.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go in this water, but loads of people do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, it's the busiest shipping lane in the world.
Yes, it is.
And there's an awful lot of what you might call... when you come out of the water down in Sussex, you have a kind of film on you.
Yes, I know what you mean.
It's not very nice.
Yeah.
It's not like swimming in Mallorca.
Yeah, but in your case, it might improve you.
It doesn't, actually, but thank you for that.
Yeah.
This is Talk Sport. Coming up, we're going to be talking tennis, we're going to be talking Wimbledon, and also Porky Vision coming up a bit later.
And the elephants are dancing on the graves of squealing mice. Anyone for tennis, wouldn't that be nice?
Very exciting day's play at Wimbledon yesterday, Mr. Parry. I don't know if you managed to catch any of it, but I saw the Johanna Konta game, which was incredible, actually. One of the most exciting women's games I've seen in many a year. We're going to talk now to Pete Zebron over in the US of A to find out what he thinks of the power of 4 British players being in the third round for the first time in 20 years. Pete, very good morning to you. Hello, Pete.
Peter, are you there?
We're trying to get him. He's on Skype, apparently.
Yeah, okay. Well,
we're not hearing from him yet.
Yeah, right.
Pete, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, sorry, we missed you there earlier.
Excellent.
Very nice of you to join us. I don't know if you heard me asking the question initially there. A lot of papers here making a big thing of the fact that for the first time in 20 years, there's 4 Brits in the third round of Wimbledon.
It's I did not hear the question, but I am very well aware of that fact. It's outstanding, and congratulations.
Yeah, and indeed. I mean, Johanna Conte's talking this morning and saying how this is one of the most epic matches she's ever been involved in, 3 sets with Vekic, and it really was quite a game.
It was. I think this is only going to do her good going forward. Usually, if you have a good, deep run at a major, there's always one of these matches that you have to encounter. It's nice that she got this out of the way. There were some dicey moments there, but she got through, and I really think, her thankfulness to the crowd is really going to pay dividends going forward. They are really going to get behind her even more going forward.
They really are. And, I mean, she only lost to this girl the last time they played together a month ago. So does that prove something in the world of tennis? Does it prove that she's getting better with every game?
I do. I think that as well. You're only as good as your last match. And obviously, since that was certainly a match that took place not too long ago, that was still in Jo Konta's mind, the ability, can I get this done? Can I get through? And she more than passed that test.
She certainly did. Now then, what I'm wondering is whether or not Andy Murray is playing a Trojan horse game, if you see what I mean, because, all this build-up to Wimbledon, it was all terrible worry and concern, and he wasn't fit, and would he even make the start of Wimbledon? Now he looks like the fittest man at Wimbledon. that we've ever seen. So what I'm thinking is, Pete, is Andy Murray pulling the wool over our eyes, and has he put his opponents on the back foot?
That could very well be the case. We saw that, he did not have a great clay court season, had a very nice run to the semis at Roland Garros. And again, everybody thought he wasn't going to do much there, being the finalist from the year before. And lo and behold, he gets all the way to the semis. Same thing here, crashes out early at Queens, and everybody's got question marks, his fitness, his health, he's grabbing body parts. And wow, he just rolled Brown earlier yesterday.
That's right. And also, surely the fact that he played hardly any grass tennis because of the Queen's debacle before he got to Wimbledon, I would have thought it would have taken him these 2 games to warm up. But he's been consummate, hasn't he, so far?
Yeah, absolutely right. And, the Big Four, we call them the Big Four.
Yep.
We say that for reasons. These guys win all the majors. These guys win all the Masters 1000s. The cream rises to the top. And I really think, Mike, that we're going to see all the Big Four in the semifinals. That each of these guys is going to win their quarters.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, I watched a bit of Rafa Nadal yesterday. The guy Young from the States looks like he's a pretty interesting prospect because he's got some great shots, hasn't he?
He does. That we've been waiting for him to come around for a long time. One of these situations where he got way too many wild cards as a youngster, didn't really have to earn it through qualifying, and it's taken him quite a while. He is playing some of the best tennis of his career the last year or so, but this might be as good as it gets for Donald Young.
Pete, from where you are over there, how do Americans view John McEnroe's involvement in Wimbledon? Because we love him over here. He's a great broadcaster now. He's very outspoken. He won the tournament 3 times, of course, so he's in the Hall of Fame here. But he doesn't often get controversial when he comes here, having a go at, the Williams sisters, having a go at people who cop out early and feign injury in the first round. I mean, he's very outspoken. Do you Americans sometimes blush a bit?
The tennis aficionados, when he's in the booth, we sort of cringe a little bit because in our minds, he doesn't necessarily do the homework coming into a match. He's asking what people's rankings are and whatnot. But,
really?
Tennis, tennis is really a niche sport here in the U.S. It's baseball, it's football, it's basketball. And so, when John McEnroe's in the booth calling a tennis match and you've got a casual sports fan tuning in, they're going to listen to every word John McEnroe says and think that it's gospel. And so there's 2 camps, if you will, the casual sports fan that believes everything he says, and then the more sports that tennis fans that we sort of shrug our shoulders is like, did he really say that? And obviously, he's got his new book that came out, so he's going to throw some parts out there to get some publicity.
No, that's right. And on that, he's been very outspoken, passing opinions on people as diverse as Andy Warhol and the world number 1 Andy Murray.
I didn't know he played tennis.
No, he doesn't, but he met him at a party once and said the guy's a fake, and all this kind of stuff.
He's also been dead for about 20 years.
Well, he has, yeah, of course he has, yeah.
Not longer.
Yeah, but interesting. But anyway, how do you see it shaping up then, Pete?
Well, on the men's side, again, the Big Four, they're going to win their quarters. There's still some big names out there that I think we'll see some very good matches leading into the semifinals. But all 4 of the Big Four is going to win their quarters. The women's side, wow. I mean, we've got somebody like Ostapenko that comes literally out of nowhere and wins the French. And so the WTA is a little bit more wide open at this point in time. Venus Williams is a tough out. We see people take a set off of her, but you got to win 2 to win against Venus. And so a lot more open on the women's side. I do like the fact that Jo Konta got through this match, and I think that's going to bode well for her going forward.
Okay.
What about the Russian Medvedev, who's in a bit of trouble? He was last seen throwing some coins at the umpire's chair, presumably trying to suggest that she was being bought up by somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he takes out Stan in the first round and then, was really not happy at all with a lot of the calls. And he apologized after the fact, but that does not show well. And obviously the media is going to run wild with that.
Yeah, exactly right. And as far as, we were talking about Roger Federer, we haven't seen too much of him so far. I mean, obviously he missed the French. He is going to figure, as you say, he's probably going to think of himself as
he's a favourite in many people's eyes.
And I mean, I think it's going to be between him and Rafa Nadal. But as you watch these guys and you've seen them throughout their careers, is there any evidence? There doesn't seem to be any evidence to me that they're slowing down or that they have less stamina. I mean, they're incredible specimens, aren't they?
Absolutely right. And Federer, he knows what he's doing. His idea of longevity, as he said, is playing the next Olympics and maybe beyond that. And so for him to be able to take time off, and the clay would have just torn up his body anyway. I think that was a very, very wise move for him to do that. And he knows what he's doing. And so, yeah, I mean, the fact that he's going to be 36 in just over a month's time, and all of a sudden, Nadal, we see him go away, and he's been counted out a number of times, and he's proven everybody wrong each and every time. All of a sudden, the early 30 ages really don't matter anymore in men's tennis.
Absolutely right. Well, listen, Pete, thank you very much indeed for your take on all of that. Pete Zebron there, looking at the second round at Wimbledon. Obviously, 4 Brits through to the third round, which is great news. Andy Murray playing tomorrow. That would be Friday. We'll bring you news on that because we're actually doing a show on Friday night, in addition to doing a show tomorrow night at 1. I'm in danger of sounding like you here with the kind of, the schedule that's upcoming.
That's right.
We're doing a show Friday night, 7 to 10, right?
Yes.
So you want to stay tuned to that. Neil says this: who needs Google for info when we have the human encyclopedia that is Porky?
Yes.
And Dave from Watford says this, and we're going to talk about this, which we've been meaning to do all through the show.
Yes.
MG, I just wondered how old Porky feels about his hero, the knackered, past his best Wayne Rooney, coming back to Everton. I suppose they're going to win the league now. LOL.
Well, I would never, ever refer to Wayne Rooney in such insulting terms. Wayne Rooney is the most successful ever English footballer, and I'll tell you what I think about him going back to Everton in a few minutes' time.
This is TalkSport.
Yes.
The Two Mikes, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind?
This is TalkSport. We are the Two Mikes. Coming up in the next hour, Porky Vision, of course. We're going to do Ask Porky tomorrow.
Yes.
So because of the way things have been moved around a little bit, the days that we do these things are going to differ slightly. However, if you want to put in a few Ask Porkies tonight and get ahead of the game, make sure you hashtag it Ask Porky.
That's right.
Send it at the Two Mikes or indeed at Mike Parry or at IROMG.
It's better to go to at the Two Mikes.
It's better if it goes to at the Two Mikes, and then there's no confusion and nobody misses it. But we'll also post something on the Facebook page as well. We can do that. But how about this from Andy, who says to you directly, and you may be a way for you to answer the question, is getting Rooney back a good thing for Everton, Porky, or a bit like telling Ringo he can sing on a tune for old time's sake?
I've made my position very clear on Wayne Rooney in the past, and I've said that I thought it would actually be the wrong end to his career to come back to Everton.
Yes.
For a number of reasons. Firstly, I think when players go back to their old clubs, they explode the spell that Rooney has over Everton. Rooney left when he was 18, and he was already the best young player in the world after 2004 in Portugal.
Yeah, but isn't there something quite sort of nice about it in the sense that with Rooney it's a different thing, isn't it? Because he is an Everton fan, and we know that he's never lost that. And he's it's almost like bookending his career. I don't mean that negatively, but he's actually, he's had a great career playing for England, playing for one of the best clubs in the world, one of the most famous clubs in the world, maybe one of the biggest clubs in the world. He comes back to Everton to end his career. I think there's a certain kind of synergy about that.
Well, there may be a certain synergy about it, but I prefer to remember Rooney as the boy who, scored that fantastic goal which ended the Arsenal invincibility run. And I mean, I'm being unkind here because his heart has always been with Everton. Over the years, we've seen pictures of his little kids out playing. He's got 3 sons now, all of whose name begin with K.
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know.
There must be a reason.
First one was Kyle, and then the other 2 are both begin with K. I don't know, but I mean, that's...
Kai,
you're absolutely right. Yeah, Kai, yeah.
But I mean, there must be a reason for that.
Must be. I don't know what it is. It's his personal life. But... I read today somewhere, or somebody told me today, he's coming back on a deal of 250 grand a week.
Yeah. Well, that's according to some of the papers reporting this morning. That is a sticking point because they may not wish to pay that.
The other version I've heard is that he'll come back on loan for Manchester United and they will pay half his wages a week, which is 175 grand a week. And the third version is that he will now be involved in the Lukaku transfer.
Yeah.
Lukaku going one way and Rooney going the other.
Yes.
Now, as a sort of make weight in the deal. He's not going to get a game regularly at Manchester United. If he moves to Everton and then doesn't regularly get a game there, what benefit is there to him to have done it when he's got 2 years left on his contract at Manchester United?
Well, I mean, he's not going to get a game at Manchester United, as you say.
Yes.
Lukaku, on the other hand, I suppose is.
Yes.
We've just seen Lacazette go to Arsenal for 50 million.
Yeah.
We've seen them.
52, I think.
Pickford being bought by Everton for 30-odd million.
Yeah.
So 100 million, although to me it seems ridiculous that you would pay that for Lukaku, who is not a guaranteed goal scorer by any means.
I agree.
Whichever way you wish to cut it. I mean, I don't really understand why they would spend that kind of money to bring him over to Manchester United. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, it doesn't make any sense for Wayne Rooney to be paid £250,000 a week at Everton either.
No.
Just imagine the number of players in the world, young players, who you could get for probably half that.
I suppose the argument would be, but the question I asked at the top of the show is whether, is this being foisted upon Ronald Koeman because it's a deal that perhaps Everton like the look of, for many reasons outside of the football pitch?
You may well be right there. Ronald Koeman initially expressed interest in Wayne Rooney about 3 months ago.
Okay,
and then for some unknown reason, it was made clear by Everton that we're no longer interested in Rooney, and now it's come up again that he is. Now, a lot of it will be to do with club politics, I think, and Bill Kenwright.
Yeah.
Mr. Kenwright's loved Wayne Rooney since he saw him as a 9-year-old.
And has he kept in touch with him? I mean, are they still friends?
Yes, without doubt. Whenever Manchester United have arrived at Goodison, there's always been contact between the two, and there may have been contact between the two outside of
put the pictures
Goodison
on the back of the Mirror this morning of Paul Stretford supposedly visiting Bill Kenwright's London office yesterday.
Well, I saw another picture of that in which he was going up a flight of stairs, and it didn't look like Mr. Kenwright's London office to me.
Right.
So, whether he's in the vicinity or something like that.
Well, he could be meeting him at somebody else's office, I suppose.
Yeah, he could be.
Maybe it's Mashiri's office.
Well, it could well be. But, I mean, it's definitely Paul Stretford because, I've known Paul, actually, for about 20 years, I suppose. And therefore, there could be something going on. But Paul does represent other players. And he's had a very good relationship with Mr. Kenwright ever since the Rooney years.
Yeah.
And, they may be talking business of another nature. I don't know. But I think it's far from done, this deal.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I don't quite understand it because they said, well, Everton, might buy Olivier Giroud from Arsenal for 20 million, which would be a bargain, I suppose.
I think that's a better buy than Lukaku for Manchester United at 100 million,
yeah, I do.
to be honest.
And then they're talking about playing Giroud and Rooney as a twin strike force, but I don't think Rooney would be part of a twin strike force.
This is what I mean. When you talk about somebody like Ronald Koeman, it doesn't really fit in. Rooney does not fit in with everything that Koeman likes to do.
No, I know.
I mean, everything Koeman has done aside from Rooney has been to kind of make the side younger, to make them quicker, to make them play sort of more as a team together.
That's right.
I don't understand Rooney at all.
I suppose what you've got to say is that one factor which could be, big in this is that where else does Wayne Rooney go?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not the sort of lad, is he, from Croxteth, not very far from the present Goodison Park. He's not very far from his birthplace, whereas China is an awful long way from his birthplace, and you can't really see Wayne Rooney in China with his wife, with his 3 kids. You know what I mean? No. I just don't see that at all.
And China also seems to be no longer quite the place of destination that it was, ever since they brought this new tax in.
Exactly. They've invoked a new 100% tax levy on all the wages paid
since Oscar and all those guys went there.
Yeah, that's right. On players going there, yeah.
I don't really see that many other players going there.
No, I don't either. I don't see it as being the fertile land it was anymore. And then, so that means, would it be America? Now, I would have thought America would have appealed to his wife.
Yeah.
And, he's only got to talk to David Beckham.
Yeah.
He's only got to talk to Steven Gerrard.
Well, Gerrard's experience there wasn't great, though,
was it? But nevertheless, lifestyle, it was. They all say that what a place to take your children for a year or two to educate them, you know what I mean, in the ways of another country, and America and all that. So, I don't know. I don't want to be disappointed in the last time I see Wayne Rooney in an Everton shirt, if it breaks the spell of the first time I saw him in an Everton shirt, if you see what I mean.
So he comes on, for opening game of the season, and has a poor first half.
And is substituted after 65 minutes or something like
younger,
that.
Then never gets another game.
Well, whatever.
That's possible, isn't it?
It is possible.
That wouldn't be good.
Wouldn't be good.
No.
And particularly if there's a lot of money involved.
You seem a bit conflicted.
Well, I'm a bit conflicted because I don't want to talk down Wayne Rooney. You know how Wayne Rooney's been my footballing hero for years. When I went to the Euros in 2004, I saw him rip apart the defences of 3 separate countries. Yeah. And I still believe, without a shadow of a doubt, if he hadn't done his metatarsal in the quarter-finals, we would have won that competition.
Yes.
He was so explosive. He was an unknown force. He was a force of nature. He had energy, speed, ideas. He supported Michael Owen up front, but was still scoring goals at random himself. And Tony Adams
But again,
was
he played for
sitting
the
there
England
as a pundit, by the way, saying, no, he's not very good. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't play him for the next game. And then he scored another 2 goals, and then Tony Adams came on.
Was his time coming at that time?
Yeah, honest to God, Tony Adams came back on and said, well, you know, he scored 2 goals in his last game, and then he scored 2 goals in this game, but I don't think I'd pick him for the next game.
No.
You know.
Many thanks for your input,
Yeah,
Tony.
exactly. Thanks, Tony. That was really a marker for your future managerial career.
Well, do you remember how I said when we were on during the morning last month,
Yeah.
I said, you know, is it not possible that Lukaku doesn't go anywhere? Because although, a bit like Sanchez has said, oh, yes, we've all made up our minds what we're doing, but they haven't actually said what they're doing.
No.
Lukaku told us a while ago, I know where I'm playing next season.
Yes.
So that was already done and dusted.
Yes.
Now, that's obviously not Manchester United, because if Manchester United are now offering to buy him...
Absolutely.
He didn't know about Manchester United then.
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go anywhere, and I wouldn't be surprised if Rooney doesn't go anywhere.
I mean, Lukaku is making a bit of a fool of himself
Yeah.
because to have made those comments when he was out of the country at the which tournament was it?
I think it was just an international break, and he was playing for Belgium.
It was. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
I mean, what about this?
And now we're reading, you know, hang on, the Matrix has not yet sort of fallen into place.
Everybody's assuming that Lukaku goes to Chelsea. How about this? How about Rooney goes to Chelsea? Which would make more sense in a way, because he would play more easily in a Chelsea team
As
than
a
he
squad
would.
player, you think?
Yeah, as an Everton player.
Well,
you don't think?
Yeah,
and they wouldn't
not a
have
bad
any.
theory.
And they wouldn't have any worries about paying his wages either.
No, they wouldn't. No, it's not a bad theory. Not a bad theory. And you know, he still is England's most successful footballer.
He is,
and somebody to have on the books. You know, and along that. The other one I read, which I never sort of adhere to, is that it'd be great to have him around the club. It'd be great to have him at the Finch Farm training ground.
Yeah,
but to be perfectly honest, some of the kids now coming through Finch Farm and all that will regard Wayne Rooney as an old footballer who's ending. Who's coming to the end of his days. They've never known him as an Evertonian. They've only ever known him as a Manchester United player, you know. And some of them won't have been more than about 8 years of age when Rooney left Everton last time. Excuse me, or maybe even younger, you know. So I'm not sure the effect he would have.
He wouldn't sort of spur them on to bigger and better things.
Well, one thing about Wayne Rooney is he's very enthusiastic about all aspects of football,
Yes.
about playing it, about training, about being immersed and involved in it, about the history of it, and he would give a tremendous amount of support to young players.
Yeah.
But you're still not going to pay him £250,000 a week just for the benefit of adding to a bit of, you know, lustre to the coaching staff, are you?
No, I suppose you're not. Stephen sends a very nice picture of a very nice-looking Porsche, which is the Porsche Panamera.
Oh, yes.
Which is the 4-door one.
That's a brilliant car.
Which they brought out, basically, for the man who's got everything, including kids.
Yes.
But he says, please look at the Porsche Panamera, Porky. Loads of room and comfort. You'll definitely like it. And maybe you should buy one.
Oh, well, OK. Well, that's very good of you to put it forward as a possible model for my future. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And we've got a lovely picture here from Gary, who says you should move to northern Alberta, where there's no traffic. Look at that. There's
Certainly
a road
is
with
no
nobody on
traffic.
it.
I like that, yeah. The problem is, when in countries where there's no traffic on the roads, generally speaking, nothing else is happening either.
Well, it's a bit quiet in Canada.
Well, during the whole of my life in Fleet Street as a Fleet Street reporter, including the time I spent in America, nothing ever happened in Canada. The 2 times I went to Canada was once because Boy George went there at the start of his North American tour, right? So that's a British input. And the second time was when Bill Clinton met Boris, the drunk, who led Russia.
Boris Yeltsin.
Who couldn't get off the boat because he was so intoxicated on vodka.
Yes.
And again, that was a foreign visitor. But in Canada itself, nothing actually ever happened.
No, I mean, I used to go up there quite a bit, but it was usually because of a story that was happening elsewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, like there was that love triangle story from the guy who used to work for ITN.
Oh, yeah.
Who was out in Cyprus, and he ended up, I think his wife left him.
Yeah.
For, I can't remember, was it John somebody? Can't remember his name. He was quite a sort of swashbuckling.
Was he the guy who liked to pose as James Bond in a dinner jacket?
Yeah, he was that kind of guy.
Yeah, I know him.
Can't remember his name.
Do you know what? He was in Libya when I was in Libya, and I brought a TV film home.
It was around about that time.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it would have been sort of late 80s.
And he married a girl who really sort of fancied herself, didn't she? With blonde hair. And she kept ringing up Ross on the William Hickey desk to tell him about her latest escapade.
They were quite a glamorous couple
with this guy. Yeah, that's
quite
right.
A glamorous couple, but but she ended up having an affair.
Yes.
In Cyprus, because I think he was based in Cyprus.
Oh, that's right.
Because he had to jump off to various points in the Middle East.
Yeah, this guy I've been talking about has been married about 5 times, by
That's
the
right.
way. He was a terrible Rogerizer.
Indeed.
Well,
he
or a
was.
great Rogerizer, whichever way you look at it.
Whichever way you look at it.
Yeah.
But his wife had eventually had an affair with this guy who lived in this god-awful part of Canada.
Yes.
And he was something like a Canadian peacekeeping
Right.
officer or something.
Right.
And I had to track him down in the snow.
Yes.
And it was one of those where the snow was above your head type
That's
thing.
right, yeah.
And he came to the front door of his family home. Because he
Yes.
was married, right, with kids and everything.
Yeah.
And very abusive.
Was he working for CNN in those days?
He was working with CNN.
That's right.
That's
yeah,
right.
That's
It's the same guy.
Yeah.
Same bloke.
Yeah.
We'll have to come up with his name.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the guy answers the door, and he's like, "I don't want to talk to you." I was like, "Yeah, well, I think you really ought to talk to me." He's like, "No, I've got no interest in talking to you." You know, he started having this row with me. And I just did that one of those kind of leaning in things. I said, "Look, your wife's at home." I said, "Why don't you just walk down the road with me, so that I don't have to tell you here what I'm going to tell you in front of her."
Yeah.
And he went completely pale.
Yes.
Because his wife obviously didn't know anything about
That's
it.
right, yeah.
So I had to go and give him the old once over.
Is the girl we're talking about, the blonde, was Tess? Her name was Tess, definitely.
I can't remember the name.
Definitely.
Can't remember the
The
name.
only other time I went to Canada was when polar bears were pulling people's arms off in Manitoba.
Yeah, we've heard that story
That's
before.
right. That's right.
But we'll have to get back into that one
Indeed.
in a little while.
Yeah.
Because we're almost out of time.
That's right.
We've got lots more to talk about, though. Patrick says, "Hi, lads. My wife and I are on holiday in sunny Malta from Melbourne, Australia."
Ah.
And he says, "Love the show. Hope to see you in Australia one day."
Yeah,
well, maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe. Sydney Opera House is
Funny
still
enough,
on.
we're going to Malta as in September as
We
well.
are indeed, yeah.
There's an England game there.
That's right.
And we're going to do a warm-up show from there.
We certainly are.
Fantastic. It's all going on. This is Talk Sport.
Strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down, when you're strange. Faces come out of the rain when you're strange. No one remembers your name when you're strange. When you're strange.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes. We've discovered the name of that guy. It was Brent Sadler.
Brent Sadler, yeah.
And his wife's name was Debbie Sadler.
That's right.
And funnily enough, I'm just reading a piece here about how Debbie and Brent were both the parents of a girl called Brooke Sadler, who wants to become a war correspondent just like her dad.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
So, there we are. He was CNN's Beirut bureau chief.
Yeah.
But he spent a lot of time based in Cyprus because Beirut was too dangerous to stay in.
Well, most of them lived in Cyprus, actually, and just used to go over on the boat. It was pretty close.
Right.
But when I was in Libya, Brent, I'd made 3 trips to Libya, so it wasn't the one where I got bombed, but on a previous one, flights were still remarkably nervous about coming in and out. I've got a flight out, and I remember Brent coming up to me and saying, "Mike, would you..." In those days, you couldn't transmit electronically.
Right.
So he gave me a video. And
so you could actually carry it back?
Yeah, you take it back. And they used to call, I was then known as the Pigeon.
Yeah.
So he would then send a message to ITN, my Pigeon is Mike Parry, who's on flight so-and-so.
Yeah.
And you get to Heathrow and some guy would be there with a bike waiting for you. You give it to him.
And take off.
So, yeah, that's the way you used to do it.
Well, same with photographers who would always have to get somebody to fly back with the film.
Exactly.
So the picture that they took would not actually get published for another at least 24 hours.
That's right, yeah.
Remarkable.
Yeah, it was,
Remarkable stuff. A couple of quick tweets for you. Here's one from Red Devil. He said, "There's more Brits living here in Canada than in Britain. Come on over. You will not want to go back."
Yeah, well, you may well be right because, Canada's a pretty safe place. Now, how about this for one of the great headlines this year so far?
Yeah.
And it's on the front of the Daily Mirror. Full marks to the guy who planned the front page because the top half of the page shows the Pope waving to hundreds of thousands of people in St Peter's Square.
It's a slightly misleading picture, isn't it?
Slightly misleading because the headline is "Drug-Fueled Orgy at the Vatican.
Yeah.
Police raid sex party in flat of Cardinal's aide."
Yeah.
And if you turn to the pages where it's all, it's a terrible story, but basically I'll sub it down for you.
It is awful, yeah.
Vatican police burst in on a drug-fueled gay orgy at the home of a cardinal's assistant. Reports claim.
Yes.
Suspicious neighbours complained about the behaviour of those visiting a flat occupied by a secretary to Cardinal Francesco Coca Palmerio.
Coca Palmerio is a good name, isn't it?
Yeah, a key advisor to Pope Francis who's aged 80.
Yeah.
When police showed up, they found drugs and a group of men engaged in sexual activity.
It's not what you expect of the old Vatican, is it?
It certainly isn't.
And apparently Cardinal Cocco Palmerio heads the Pontifical Council for Legislative Texts.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
He is said to have once recommended his secretary for promotion to bishop.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, this is it says... in March, the Vatican was hit with a wave of lurid accusations of priests misbehaving across Italy.
Yeah.
The scandals involved orgies, prostitution, and porn videos. I mean, what's going on with these
Well,
priests?
it's not the Vatican you know and love, really, is it?
No, it's not.
I
no.
dare say that they'll say, well, it was out of our control, nothing to do with us, and, Cardinal Cocco Palmerio is no longer with the Vatican.
Yes,
and
that's
the Holy
right.
See has
That's
seen him off.
Yeah, yeah.
Apparently, the third highest ranking official in the Holy See is a guy called Cardinal Pell.
Yeah.
And apparently he has denied any wrongdoing and has said he's looking forward to his day in court because he's been charged with historical sex offences.
Yes, that's right.
He's the treasurer.
It's a shocking business. But remember, it's all allegations, of course.
Yeah, it's only allegations.
It's only allegations.
Yeah,
and
because of suspicious neighbours.
Yeah, suspicious neighbours and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, I was out and about today and I went to see the chiropractor, so that would be down in Stockbroker.
Was that local to you, was it? Did you have a long way to go?
It's about 25 minutes from where I live.
Uh-huh.
And I got there, and then when I came out, my car was covered in flying ants.
Oh, yeah. Funnily enough, I was listening to Talk Sport earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And Lisa O'Sullivan, who was reporting on Wimbledon for
Right.
us, was saying that there was an outbreak of flying ants at Wimbledon today. Yesterday.
I'm just saying that there's some reports I'm looking at now, which will be around tomorrow morning. Tennis star Joe Wilfried Tsonga feels the buzz at Wimbledon. Swarms of flying ants bugged him.
Right.
And then it showed an umpire on centre court
Right.
having to smack his face about. But they're very distinctive. They've got a dark body and they've got see-through wings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they seem to be all over the place. And it was rather worrying. They were still stuck to my car when I got home, so I massacred them, as you would.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what did you do to get them off your car?
I whacked them with a paper.
Really?
Yeah, there were only 2 left when I got home, but I thought, I'm not going to have a new
Well, it's not
breeding in my garage.
Well, it's not exactly like an infestation, is it? There's only 2 of them.
Well, yeah, you don't want to bring them back. Now, I'll tell you another disgraceful and disgusting development today.
Yes.
And I was going to save
Is it
this.
in your neck of the woods?
In my neck of the woods. I was going to say...
Again, another part of the world where you live.
Yeah.
Which is turning into sort of Grottsville.
No, this has nothing to do with Grottsville, man. This is the opposite. And I was going to save this for the 1 minute moan in our warm-up show on Saturday.
Well,
but I'm
maybe you
so
can't.
angry, I've got to let it go now, right? So I go to a normal car park I use in a place called Cheam. Cheam,
yeah.
right? Because Cheam is where our suppliers' direct line communications are. And I went in to see them to make sure that all the supplies were going out, the T-shirts, the
Everything
videos.
going well, is it?
Everything's going well, thank you. People ordering downloaded podcasts and all that kind of stuff, you know. And,
well, in the absence of a few podcasts, I mean, we're only off, like I said, for 3 or 4 days.
That's right,
but people have been complaining
That's
there's
right.
nothing to
They
download.
certainly have, yeah.
So I've been sending a lot of them to the website to get some of the live
Good
stuff.
man, that's great. Absolutely well done. And anyway, so I go to where the old parking machine was to find a new parking machine, you know, for the tickets. You know what I mean? What's it call it?
Well, it's a parking machine.
Parking meter, is it?
Well, it's not really a meter,
No,
is
it's
it?
a parking machine, yeah.
It's a parking
to get your
machine because
tickets
you've
on.
got to put your money in.
That's right.
And you've got to get the ticket out, put it in your car.
That's right, yeah. So the old one, which was always quite efficient,
Yeah.
never let me down or anything like that, which worked, is gone.
Right.
There's a new one. And big new shiny one, which must have cost tens of thousands of pounds,
Yes,
right?
right.
And it's been sunk into the concrete.
Yeah.
The old machine has been removed, and so has the second old machine been
Uh-huh.
removed, leaving you with one machine. So you've got to walk from the far end of the car park.
So there's a further way to walk. Yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, so I go there.
Yeah.
I know exactly how many coins I need.
Yeah.
I need £2.
Yeah. For how long do you get
for
for
2
that?
hours.
Okay.
Right, because
Yeah.
I was going to see the girls and
Yeah.
then perhaps take them for a cup of coffee or something like that, which I
Yeah.
did, you know. So anyway, I put my money in,
Yeah.
and it went straight through and clattered into the return tray.
Ah, yes.
So I thought, well, I'll do this again.
Is it because of old pounds, new
No,
pounds?
no. Well, I thought that, but it's a new machine. So I put it in again. You know. So I thought, what's going on here? And then I see a light flashing saying, give your registration number.
Yes. Yeah, they've done that in Sussex
Right,
as well.
so I'm thinking, what's all this about? What's this racket? Now,
Yeah.
of course, I can't remember my registration
No.
number, so I have to walk back across the far side of the car
Yeah.
park. I have to get my registration number, come back, and then I notice there is literally an alphabet of punch numbers, punch
like
letters.
a keypad,
Keypad.
Yeah.
So I punch it in. Anyway.
Some of them only want the first 3 letters, don't they? 'Cause they want the whole thing.
This is what the whole thing.
Right, okay.
So I took it out, and the woman behind me, I said, look, I'm sorry I've been so long. I said, but this, newfangled machine wants your registration on. She said, that's to stop people transferring the ticket to somebody. I said, you are having me on.
I know, isn't that ridiculous?
She said, no, it is, honestly.
Yeah.
The wardens now come round every half hour, and they are, if they see you now giving a ticket to somebody else, you'll be done because you've got registration
And I bet you,
number.
like the one I was done for, is 80 quid now. It's no longer, it's not like 40 quid.
Yeah,
it's £80.
Anyway, I think it's the most disgusting thing. Don't you realise that when you've paid your money, and by the way, these machines don't give change.
No.
So if you haven't got the right money, they keep the change.
They keep the change,
They keep the change. Yeah. So the most disgusting thing is now, if I had gone to see the girls in DLC, and, they hadn't been there, they'd been too busy, and after paying for £2, I come back and want to drive my car off. I always say to myself, well, I'm not going to waste this. I'll see a guy driving in and say, I might have my ticket, there's 2 hours on it.
Also, if you bought a ticket for 2 hours or maybe even 1 hour, and whatever it is that you're doing takes maybe, I've done it before where you've only been 5 minutes.
That's right.
So you've got 55 minutes left.
That's right.
And you give it to someone. What's wrong with that?
You have already paid for that space in that car park, right?
Yeah.
You are entitled. You've rented that space. You've hired it.
Yes, you're right.
You are then entitled to hand over the contract
to occupy the space for the next hour.
Of course. You are then entitled to transfer that contract between you and the council for their car park to another driver.
Yes.
Because it helps drivers get off the street and get into car parks.
Exactly.
I think it's the most outrageous. What's the word I'm looking for? Breakdown between authority and the people.
You know what disturbs me the most about it is that at some point or other in the previous year, somebody has come up with this idea.
That's right.
So that means that people actually sit around in council offices saying, how can we make even more money from the car parking situation that we currently have going?
That's right.
Let's issue some more residential permits for some roads. Let's paint a few roads over and say, right, no more parking here unless you've got a residential permit. That's one way of making money. And make sure also you give out more permits than there are spaces.
That's right.
Then let's change all the car parks around so that you have to get people putting in their registration number so that they can't transfer things. And also they can track you as well so that they know that you've parked in there. Yeah. It's absolutely and utterly outrageous.
It's disgusting.
Let me tell you what I was going to tell you when I was on my way up here tonight, right?
Yeah.
I passed this is on my trip of approximately 55 miles from Battle up to London, right? One temporary traffic light on the A21 before we got to Tunbridge, where the road was actually closed again. Right. So you run another diversion, which takes about 25 minutes longer than the main road. We got back on to the A21 just past Tunbridge Wells, not before we had one lane restriction down to one lane and another temporary traffic light. Got back on the A21, managed to get all the way up towards Sevenoaks, back down to one lane again. I don't know what they're doing, but they are literally ruining all the roads. I got to, as I was coming up with M25, it said M2 closed between junctions 4 and 5, M20 closed between junctions 6 and 7. People who try to drive around at night, and there'll be people listening to us doing it now, you can't get anywhere.
You can't get anywhere.
People who try to drive at night because it's easier actually end up getting screwed because they shut all the roads.
It's absolutely disgraceful.
It's incredible.
Disgraceful.
It's incredible.
Disgraceful.
That was a 5-minute moan, I suppose you might say. We've got loads of tweets coming up. We're going to tell you about Mike Ashley coming up next, though, because this is one of the great court cases of all time.
Definitely.
This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mikes, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Got a great tweet here from Becky who says, I'm surprised Porky didn't take a flamethrower to the flying ants on his car. It could have solved both issues.
Yeah, good idea. I should have done. I totally agree with you.
Yes. Now, how about this story today? It's in City AM this morning. They've actually got Sports Direct the movie on the front because they're saying that Mike Ashley, Sports Direct's colourful boss, as he's now being described, put in another vintage performance as he took the stand in the High Court. Here's some of the things that he said while he was on the stand.
Right.
I am not Obi-Wan Kenobi in charge of the Death Star.
I know.
Now, first of all, he's got that wrong, hasn't he?
He has got it wrong
Obi-Wan
because
Kenobi never was in charge of the Death Star.
He fought the Death Star, didn't he?
Well, he did. That's very good. For someone who's never seen a Star Wars film, you've done well there.
Yes.
He should have said, I'm not Darth Vader in
right.
charge of the Death Star.
Exactly.
He then said, everybody thinks I'm just going to sell it off and go to the beach. I'm fat enough as it is, he said. He also said it's very boring and lonely in Shirebrook.
Yeah.
Is that where he lives?
Yes,
Shirebrook?
Well, it's where his HQ is, in the Midlands.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then he says, you say Mike Ashley sits in a big office stroking a white cat. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
He then says, I should go to the gym because I'm as fat as a barrel. I mean, incredible stuff he's coming out with.
But let me tell you what he's been talking about over the past few days, right? Which is absolutely fantastic. This dispute is all about a guy who used to work for him, who says that in a late-night drinking session in a pub called the Horse and Groom, which I think is in just near where I do the BBC Jeremy Vine Radio 2, and, and that road that comes down.
There used to be a pub called the Horse and Groom in Hampstead, but I don't think it's there anymore.
I don't think it is. This is the road which comes down, Mike, from sort of Regent's Park right down to Soho. You know the road I'm talking about?
Yes, I do know the one you're talking about, yeah.
Exactly.
Great Portland Street.
Great Portland Street, it is, at Great Portland Street. And I'd come out the BBC doing Jeremy Vine, we go across the road to this pub, and it looked exactly the same. I didn't know it was called the Horse and Groom.
Right.
Anyway, the point is, they have a session in there, and after this session, the gentleman concerned, who used to work for Mike Ashley, but didn't at the time, the claim is that he said, I can get the Sports Direct share price up to £8. It was £4 at the time.
Yeah.
And he said, if I do, I want 15 million. And this is all verbal. There's nothing in contractual writing or anything. Anyway, the guy's name is Mr. Forsey, right?
Yeah.
The guy who's making the claim, Dave Forsey. And he got paid £1 million. Now, he's saying that because he got paid £1 million, then that is recognition of the fact there was an agreement, but the agreement was not for $1 million, it was for 15.
And he's saying that it was pub banter, isn't he?
He's saying pub banter, yeah. Now, the point is that, according to Mr. Blue's witness statement, okay, now Mr. Blue is... Mr. Forsey...
Jeffrey Blue is the investment banker who's brought the claim, right?
That's right. Jeffrey Blue is the investment banker who's brought the claim.
Yeah.
Now, according to Mr. Blue's witness statement, Sports Direct boss said that a Scottish fellow billionaire who's very well known, and I suppose he's been mentioned in court, his name is Tom Hunter.
Tom Hunter, yeah.
He's
the guy that started QuickFit, I think, isn't he?
Is he? Is that the same guy? Yeah,
yeah,
okay. But anyway, allegations came about that the man concerned, to Tom Hunter, who a decade ago pledged to give £1 billion to charity, according to Mr. Ashley, has gone skint at the time of the negotiations in 2014.
Right.
So he rants and raves and says, how dare that Scottish, and he called him a very nasty word. Renee on our deal. Don't give me all this donating $1 billion to charity. My word is my bond nonsense. If you want a higher price, just be honest and say it's because you're skint and you don't make up all these blinking excuses. JB, Jeffrey Blue, I would have respected him more if he was just honest about it, admit that he needs the money because he's skint. Mr. Blue claims that's what Mr. Ashley told him, so he's now in this row. But the best bits of it are Sports Direct's directors were said to have been wined and dined by the billionaire, that's Mr. Ashley, at exclusive London restaurants where they were treated to bottles of a Richebourg wine at £3,000 per bottle, right? £300 bottle.
Was this before or after he vomited into the fireplace?
No, this was on a different occasion.
That's amazing.
It is, yeah. Admitted. Well, he was having a drinking competition with somebody else, and he drank 12 pints.
And he was drinking pints and vodka chasers.
And vodka chasers. Yeah. But anyway, they were drinking these bottles of wine at £3,000 per bottle, where you and I might pay 60, for the very, very best wine in the restaurant. They're 3,000. They drank so many that the restaurant ran out of them, right? How dare they, the non-executive directors, lecture me about corporate governance when they're all happy to sit around and get inebriated, except he didn't use the word inebriated, on £3,000 bottles of wine at the company's expense, and then go to the casino where he said they might wake up the next morning with a £20,000 casino chip because it's alleged he was also dishing out thousands of pounds in casino chips to these guys to say, when you've finished your meal, get off to the casino.
Right.
It's amazing.
It's an incredible kind of lid being lifted on the business that he runs because, of course, he's only really previously up to now been famous for being not only the boss of Newcastle United, but the boss of Sports Direct, who have been given a terrible shellacking by one and all for 0 hours contracts, for not treating their workers properly, for having terrible working conditions, for firing people for no good reason. I mean, he's a sort of modern day Victorian industrialist, isn't he?
Well, I think he's an extremely colourful man.
I mean, he's eccentric as hell.
But he holds most of these meetings. The evidence we've heard from the court so far is that most of these business meetings don't start till about 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
They don't have dinner till 10:30, and they often go on drinking till 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And this is where decisions are made involving like hundreds of millions of pounds of investment.
Well, considering the success of the business, you'd have to say they're making the right decisions.
Well, you have to say it's a good business plan because it clearly worked.
Yeah.
It's turned Mr. Ashley into a billionaire,
Yeah.
so it might not work for everybody else, but it certainly works for him.
One of the things he also said in court today, or yesterday,
Yeah.
with regard to Mr. Blue's claim that, he was going to get the share price up, he says, if I've got great numbers, it doesn't matter if I go to a party naked, the share price goes up.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's basically saying it's nothing to do with what this guy would have done for him.
That's right.
That the share price would continue to go up.
That's right. And to make it clear, Jeffrey Blue is the guy who is suing Mr. Ashley for the £15 million bonus. Mr. Forsey, who I mentioned earlier, he's been dragged into the case because it's claimed that he was given sort of top-up additions to his salary, which Mr. Blue apparently was aware of, and therefore that made him put the proposition to Mr. Ashley about, well, hang on, if I do great things for you, will I get a big bonus? And that's the basis of the court case.
He sounds like a terrifying guy to work for, though. I mean, like some of the colourful people we've known in the media.
Yes, that's right.
Like Robert Maxwell and others. I mean, not a pleasant guy to work for by the sounds of it because he's very unpredictable.
Yeah.
And he might look after you quite well, but he also clearly enjoys humiliating people, making people do things which they might otherwise not want to.
That's right.
And one of the points, I mean, he's even making his own PR company laugh, who were sitting in the court watching him.
Yeah.
But he said at one point he didn't make Sports Direct public for the benefit of the firm, saying he only made it for the benefit of the firm.
Yeah.
He didn't do it for himself because he's already, in his words, fabulously wealthy.
That's right.
He said, what do you think I did with the money in the morning? Went out and bought the neighbour's house. I already owned it.
Yeah,
I mean, he's one of these guys that you don't mess around with.
No, and at the same time, also, when this is a great defence, when they said, well, we put it to you that you said you'd give him 15 million, he said, how could I have done?
Yeah.
I'm not powerful enough.
Yeah.
The fact that he owns the company almost, solely himself, he's making out that nobody could have made that decision. Nobody could have individually made that decision. I'd need the permission of directors and that sort of thing.
Which nobody will believe because he clearly runs the place with a relatively iron fist by the sounds of things.
Yeah, there's a picture of the horse and groom.
Even though it's a public company. Oh, there's the horse and groom,
Yeah, that's right.
On one of our internal monitors.
On one of our internal monitors. The thing is, the people I've worked for in the media have never been the millionaire or billionaire owners.
Yeah.
They've been their editors.
Yes.
But if you worked for the Express after we left, the new owner, Mr. Richard Desmond, is a billionaire.
Yeah.
He started off as a publisher, has now become a massive property developer. And I think he took quite a big part in, the day-to-day running of the paper. So we would no doubt have had dealings with him.
We would have done had we worked there. And I certainly know people who have had dealings with him, And, I mean, the word is now that I think there's some kind of merger being planned. He might be selling it off. I mean, everything that he sells off, he seems to make a huge profit on.
I thought the Mirror Group were interested in buying
I believe so. And David Montgomery's involved in some way as well.
In some way, yeah.
So it's all fascinating stuff.
But Mr. Desmond has been so successful in his acquisition of a newspaper because he acquired a newspaper and then realised how much came with it, and he's now developed the printing place, which was West Ferry Road, into
another one of sort of these estates.
It's going to be a multi-billion pound development of exclusive flats. It's incredible.
By the way, did you see that story today about the Shard? That there are something like I think 10 of the most expensive apartments in the Shard have remained empty, and they cost something like 50 million each.
Yes, but even though they've been bought.
Well, I'm not sure. The story was one of these weird stories that said because they're south of the river, and it later said at the end, actually the belief is that they've been bought by the Qataris, and they just don't want to occupy them.
Yes, that's
and
right.
They don't want to sell them.
I've heard that they've been bought but never used.
Yeah, because the Qataris own 50% of the Shard.
Exactly.
But by the way, they're still under pressure from Saudi.
Well, I know. I've had an exchange of notes with Richard.
Oh, have
Richard
you?
Keys,
you'll have to tell us about that coming up.
Indeed.
Also coming up next is Porky Vision.
That's right.
This is Talk Sport.
As your TV reviewer, I can reveal there are no plans for a new series.
Yeah, no, but wasn't there a previous series?
Oh, hang on, wait a minute. It says here there might be a new series. What's the problem?
So here we are. It is Thursday morning. Wimbledon is well underway. I don't know whether you're going to be mentioning that in Porky Vision, but it is time for Porky Vision. So what have you been watching, Mr. Parry?
Well, I've had a few tweets from people saying go easy on Poldark because they're getting as fed up with it as I am.
Really?
And so I'm not going to dwell on Poldark
I was forced to sit through some of it on Sunday night.
Yes.
But I absented myself.
Was it the current episode?
Yes.
It was the current episode. It was the poorest episode I've seen of Poldark.
Well, to be honest, I can't watch it.
Everything's falling apart
I actually
in it.
got up and went and did the kitchen.
Nothing's making any sense anymore.
No.
You know, Ross Poldark's making all the wrong decisions.
Well, nothing happens, though. It's so slow.
Well, it does if you followed the previous series.
Yeah,
but, you know, his main rival, Waldoran, I've forgotten his name now.
Whatever his name is, Wallogaran.
Yeah, he's become a magistrate.
Yeah.
And as I predicted, very, very powerful. And
Yes.
he's now sending all Poldark's people to Australia for 15 years to do 15 years hard labour and all this kind of stuff. Well, I mean, if the idiot Poldark couldn't see that, then he's a goon of the First Order.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk to you about The Lock, because The Lock is the most strangest programme.
That is a weird show as well, isn't it?
It's supposed to be about a rampant murderer in a little village on the edge of a loch, which we assume is Loch Ness, because people come looking for the monster and all that kind of stuff. There's a body buried in the loch, right, which is attached to one of those curling weights.
And we still don't know who that is, do we?
Don't know who it is. The heart is missing. The husband of the chief, or one of the chief cops investigating, second chief female cop, he's driving along testing out his new camera, right? And he chucks it into the water because it's a camera to search for the monster.
Oh, yeah.
And just as he's driving past the body, his phone rings and he goes to pick it up and he's talking and you can see on his screen the body.
And he misses it.
He misses it completely.
Do you know it's worse than that?
What?
Because I was watching that show.
Yeah.
And I don't remember that bit.
You don't?
No.
Oh, well,
there might have been bladderation may have set in early.
May have set in.
Yeah.
Now, the guy who really gets my goat is the forensic psychologist who goes into every meeting.
The black guy.
The black guy who is, you know, seems to have, like, the ability to order policemen around and policewomen around and all that kind of stuff, who sits in meetings and says, I'm a forensic psychologist. And the other guy who they suspect could be the killer is a lecturer at the local college. And
what do you think?
And well, he's something very strange about the guy.
He's not right, is he?
He's got a secret room, believe it or not. And they've just
a locked
smashed.
room?
Yeah, they've just smashed into his secret room to find out what's in there. Yeah, and that'll be the next episode. But anyway, this guy's sitting there, and the forensic psychologist is now making things up in real life.
Right.
Because he's saying to the brilliant, you know, lecturer who's come from Oxford University, you know, I can tell what's going in your mind. The lecturer knows more about it and says, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You know what's going on in my mind. I've read your books.
Yeah.
You know, and in your books, you claim this, you claim that.
Oh, yes, I remember this bit.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's never happened. And then he unveils, this is the best bit, he unveils the fact that the psychologist has never recovered from his sister's death when they were both aged about 5.
Right.
And then
that touches his kind of raw nerve.
So this man who's a criminal psychologist is supposed to be completely in control of his faculties and can read other people's minds, leaps up, picks the guy up and smacks his face in.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, how can he ever work on the case again?
Thereby giving him a valid excuse to walk out of the interview.
Exactly. So how can he ever work on the case again? But he's still going around telling people, you know, well, I tell you what's going on in this guy's, I've got a profile on him. As I've told everybody before, without boring you to death, from the time that Cracker was made, everybody thought these forensic psychologists were the brains behind all police detection.
Yeah.
They have never yet solved a crime. It's absolutely true. They have never come up with the raison d'etre for a crime. They've never given police the lead on a crime. They've never spotted the right man. They are, in fact, a failed profession.
Although they have created some fantastic television. Because
fantastic.
I mean, from Cracker and all the way through various things like Wire in the Blood, which was very good. I mean, all of these forensic psychologists create fantastic characters.
When you used to see Cracker sitting there smoking a packet of cigarettes and telling the bloke opposite what a scumbag he was and why he was a scumbag and what he'd done and what he was going to do and what his failings were in life, it was riveting.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, none of it's true in real life.
No.
It's never happened. They have never, ever got the profile of a killer right.
I suppose what they're trying to copy, though, is the profiling that the FBI do on serial killers, which actually has worked.
Yes, exactly. That's right. Yeah, you mean the Boston guy, Son of Sam.
Son of Sam, Jeffrey Dahmer, all those guys, you know.
But anyway,
Ted Bundy.
Now let's get to Riviera, which is brilliant, okay?
Oh, yes.
Riviera is absolutely brilliant, and a scene took place in that which shocked me to my core.
Really?
Right? So what happens is that the main actress, the blonde American girl, who's dynamic and brilliant, her husband is blown up when a super yacht blows up in the middle of the Mediterranean, somewhere off Monaco. All hands go down, including her husband. But now it's been revealed her husband was actually a massive money launderer.
Was he?
The reason she's married to him was because he was collecting fine art. She was an American art specialist.
Right.
They got together. He then ditched his first wife and moved her into the £40 million home.
Yes.
Which has, got loads of art in it.
Yes.
Now, she was then off to America, I think I told you in a previous review, to buy paintings.
And she didn't know he was a money launderer.
Well, she doesn't.
Right.
She's only just found out because she's broken into the secret room.
Right.
He's got a
He's
secret
got a secret room as
Yeah,
well.
he's got a secret
It's all the
room.
rage.
Seriously.
So everyone's got a secret
Seriously,
room.
he's got a secret room.
So you started this.
Yeah, which only his son knows the combination to, but she cleverly gets her super guy on the electronics into the house. She takes them all out for dinner one night. He comes in, gets the code for her.
Yeah.
She then goes in the secret room. She then finds all the documents. She finds that paintings she's been recommended for up to $27 million he's been buying, but then immediately selling to some mysterious guy called, Di Bando or something.
In the Far East or somewhere.
Well, no, in America. In America, in the Bahamas. In the Bahamas,
okay.
right? In the Bahamas,
Yeah.
Di Bando or something like that. But every painting is being sold Di Bando. And in return, you get $27 million.
Yeah.
She realises now it's a massive money laundering
So he's
operation.
using dirty money to buy the paintings.
Well,
and then selling the paintings for clean money.
No, he's into another business, and nobody quite knows what it is. But he
Okay.
needs to get rid of $27 million. He pretends to buy a painting, but then guess what? He's getting an expert artist to paint forgeries of the paintings.
really? Okay.
And so the paintings are not even real.
Right.
However, she's now discovered that they've got a secret vault in the Bahamas where
Right.
the paintings are kept.
The real paintings.
Yeah, the real paintings, and where the money might be.
Yeah.
And she's on the trail of that. But it's brilliant stuff. But the thing that shocked me was that the son of the man who's died,
Right.
the billionaire who's died.
Who's the husband of this of the woman who's looking for the paintings?
No, the woman who's looking for the paintings is the widow of the billionaire who's died.
Right, okay.
The younger widow, okay?
Yes, right.
So
That's Julia Stiles, right?
Eh?
That's Julia Stiles.
Well, the blonde-haired girl.
yeah.
Is that her
the
name?
one from the Bourne films.
The one from the Bourne films,
Yeah,
that's right.
that's
Absolutely
her.
right. Yeah, well
Yeah.
done. That's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Now then, so what happens then is the ex-wife keeps turning up and being
Okay.
a bit bitchy, you
Right.
know? But they start to realise they kind of need each other.
Right.
But the guy who's the real bad penny is the son of the billionaire.
Right.
He
And from the first wife, presumably.
from the first wife.
Yeah.
He resents the new widow being
Right.
around because she now inherits
Julia,
everything.
yeah.
Except for the fact that the local Interpol guy
Yeah.
has walked in on the reading of the will
Yeah.
and said, all your money is frozen, all your accounts are frozen.
Blimey.
They've even got their own bank,
Right.
and that's frozen.
Right.
And he says, I'm investigating money laundering.
Yeah.
And nobody believes him. Then she goes on the trail and finds out there could be something in this.
Yes.
But the son is like such a bad penny. So he is fed up to the back teeth with not inheriting his father's money now because it's been frozen,
Yeah.
right? He also, hates the fact that the widow's around.
Right.
Hates the fact that his mother keeps telling him to get a proper job.
Yeah.
So he goes out one night, after they've all gone out for dinner.
Uh-huh.
And he's absolutely out of his head on drink.
Yeah.
And he says to the concierge, bring my car around to the front. It's a Lamborghini.
Oh, yeah.
He gets in it and he roars off. Apparently you can do this in Monaco if
No.
you're, very rich, because
Yeah.
police don't tend to
They
stop
don't
you,
stop you
apparently.
in a Lamborghini.
That's right, yeah. So he goes to
Shocking.
the casino, right, and he's gambling more and more, and then he's found in a private lavatory with two women
Oh, yeah.
snorting cocaine.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, but he's not having sex, funnily enough. He's
Right.
just snorting cocaine.
Right.
So then they say, you've got to start behaving yourself. And he says, you're not big enough for me. So he goes back to the table.
Right.
He's $400,000 down.
Right.
He puts the keys of his Lamborghini on the table and says, I want to bet with that. He's off his head now
Yeah.
with coke and drink and
Right.
everything,
Uh-huh.
He loses that hand.
Yeah.
And he now owes the casino $620,000,
And they've got his car.
including his car.
Right.
So guess what happens? This is no shocking thing. His mother,
Yeah.
who obviously is in her sort of, 50s or late 50s,
Yeah.
very strikingly good-looking woman in her day and still very elegant.
Yes.
She goes to the casino, sees the boss,
Yeah.
and says, how much is he in for?
Yeah.
And the boss says, 623,000. So she then makes an arrangement for the boss to have sex with her on the roulette table to wipe off the debt.
Dear God.
Yes.
She must be a woman of rare beauty.
Well, she's a woman of rare beauty, and, she's been a big figure in Monaco
So what,
for years.
one time only, 620,000?
Well, you see, what is most disgraceful is that the son then goes back the following day when he's
Right.
kind of sobered up and he
Right.
says, look, I was a bit wild last night. I want my car back and I'll find money to settle the debt. And the boss says, there is no debt.
Right.
And he says, what? There is no debt.
So she's wiped the debt.
She's wiped the debt.
With one performance, as it were.
So anyway,
Shocking.
the son says...
Is that what shocked you?
It shocked me.
Yeah.
It shocked me terribly that
Did
a
it?
woman could be of such loose virtue.
Right.
So Rogerisation to pay a gambling debt.
Well.
So anyway.
Well.
So the son says, my mother? He said, yeah. So then he thinks, where did my mother get $600,000 from? All our money's frozen.
Yeah, right.
So he goes, and the boss says, go and collect your keys from the office. So he goes up the stairs to the office, and the first assistant is sitting there saying, "Oh, you want your keys? Yes, they're there," and they're in front of a screen.
Yeah.
And as he goes to pick them up, they play on the screen the sexual activity of the boss, Rogerising his mother
No, my
across a
goodness
roulette
me.
table.
They see that's not right.
And the son obviously is so humiliated. You know what I mean? That he thinks.
Mind you, he deserves that, doesn't he?
Oh, he deserves it. He deserves it. Yeah, I mean, he's a wastrel, complete wastrel.
Right.
He's already been told by the father of one of his girlfriends that he's a worthless, useless punk, not fit to wipe his father's boots, and don't ever come to me again, begging for money.
Yeah.
And then just boots him off with a tennis ball across his head and
Yeah,
all
right.
that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Amazing.
so I mean, it's really.
So does he say anything to his mother, having seen her on the screen?
Well,
or
they
not?
haven't met since all this happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's all getting rather sort of, I would say stressful
Is that
in
right?
many, many ways. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it is a terrific show.
Okay.
Oh, and guess what? You
Yeah,
won't
go on.
believe this, right? So I watched some of this down on the coast.
Yeah.
Now, I told you I got my new smart telly.
Oh yeah, how's that all working out?
Oh, it's brilliant.
How's the sound bar?
Soundbar's brilliant.
Right, okay.
But guess what it does for you?
What?
So, back in Stockbroker Bells, I have to skybox them and record them.
Yes.
And then I come and watch them one
Yeah.
by one.
Right.
On the new one, I
Yeah.
can't believe it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I watch episode 4,
Yeah.
and we're only up to that, or 5, right?
Yeah.
But then, as it finishes, a son comes up saying, episode 5 ready to download, and you press a button and you're watching episode 5.
episode 5.
And then when I'd watched episode 5,
Yeah.
a sign came up saying episode 6
Yeah.
ready to
'Cause
download.
you can watch them all.
I've watched virtually all of it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It is great, isn't
It's
it?
fantastic.
It is.
And
I mean-
I didn't know I'd paid for that sort of service. So
Yeah.
I'm going to get installed in
Well, it just
Stockbroker
means
Bells.
everything that's it's the same with House of Cards.
Yes.
You go into Netflix, you
Yes.
can watch all of it.
That's right.
In one night.
Well, this is on Sky Atlantic.
Yes.
And it just comes to you automatically.
Yeah.
But brilliant
Well,
TV.
Richard begs to differ. He says, incorrect. He says, Riviera's very average despite the hype and
No.
sumptuous location.
No, I think it's
the
brilliant.
acting quality is disappointing.
No.
So many better shows. Well, I mean, there are a lot of great shows out
Yeah.
there, but I do
Yeah.
like Julia Stiles.
Yes, so she's great.
I do like her.
She's great. She's very muscular, in
Is
her
she?
body form. I've noticed she's got legs like a gladiator.
Has she?
And she has a walk which is very sort of manly. You know
Really?
what I mean? Yes, she's a great presence.
I've
yeah.
never seen that in
Great
the Bourne
presence.
films. I always
Yeah,
liked
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Phil says, Game of Thrones, one of the best things produced on TV.
I can't watch it
Loosely
'cause it's
based
science
on War
fiction.
of the Roses. Give it a go, lads.
No, it's science fiction.
Well, it's
you
not
know.
really.
Well, beasts flying around and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. That's all
Yeah.
nonsense. I wouldn't mind if it was a straightforward fight
Right.
between two ancient civilizations.
Yeah.
But
You
as soon
don't
as
like the creatures?
Yeah, as soon as the creatures and the beasts get involved, it's all nonsense. We didn't have those in the in the Middle Ages here in England, so I don't know where it is.
What
you
about
know.
the dragons?
Eh?
What about the
Nah,
dragons?
I hate them. I hate all that. You know,
All right.
can't
Well,
watch it.
coming up, I'll tell you how to deal with flying ants.
Okay.
Because apparently it's Flying Ant Day.
Yeah, yeah.
This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Today you and I are not the same. You say you like the sun, I like the rain. So before we go do it all again, you better catch your own train.
Don't forget, this Saturday, Talk Sport will bring you live coverage of the deciding test between the British and Irish Lions against New Zealand, level at 1 win apiece, heading into the final game at Eden Park. The game kicks off at 8:35, and we'll be on directly afterwards, won't we? On the warm-up, kicking off around about midday. Now, you were mentioning flying ants on your car.
Yeah.
And apparently, National Flying Ant Day was either yesterday or could be today.
Sorry, what's that meant to mean?
Well, apparently every year
Oh,
there's a day, and it tends to be around this time of year.
I see.
Could be going on for as long as 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh.
But the day itself was named as the 5th this year.
Oh, blimey.
but it's when male and female ants sprout wings and venture out of their nests on a nuptial flight. seeking ants from other colonies to mate with.
Is that right?
Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
And they do it at the same time every year.
Yeah.
So it's not always on the 5th of July, but it's around about the 5th of July, right?
Right,
According to the Society of Biology, nuptial flight is an important phase in the reproduction of the ant species.
Yes.
During the flight, virgin queens mate with males and then land to start a new colony.
Ooh.
It doesn't say whether they mate with a number of them, right?
No.
The flying ants you encounter in your town or garden are almost certainly the black garden variety.
Yeah.
Their nests have a single queen and typically around 5,000 workers, although there can be as many as 15,000.
Wow.
So if you get any in your building,
that's what I mean.
You're going to have loads of them.
That's what I mean. That's why I'm trying to get rid of them. So I've done my bit there. Yeah,
that's amazing, isn't it? So actually, ants don't normally fly apart from this time of year.
Yeah. Well, that makes complete sense. It's a sort of one-off, if you know what I mean.
It's usually when a spell of wet weather is followed closely by hot, humid weather.
Yeah.
Queen ants take this as their cue to seek males to mate with.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's something worth knowing, isn't it? Now, I'll tell you what I wanted to talk to you about because there's all sorts of issues which we've got to cover, having not been around for a couple of days.
Yes.
The situation involving what was I going to talk to you about?
I don't know.
I was going to talk to you about
I'll tell you what, I'll read you a couple of tweets while you're looking it up. Dazza says this: I haven't listened to Porky Vision due to its poor quality for a while, but there does seem to be some research involved tonight.
Of course there is.
And Richard says Julia was great in Bourne, but miscast in Riviera.
Yes.
Unlike the Night Manager, Lucky Man, Line of Duty, etc.
Right, okay. I told you I was going to talk to you about. This one. Now, Rogerisation is one thing. I gave you that in Porky Vision, but it's bladderisation, which is worrying me a bit. Now, do you remember the boy bands which starred Keith Duffy and Brian McFadden?
The boy bands, was that Westlife?
Or
was it Boy's Own? It was Westlife, wasn't it?
No, there was two. That's the point. You got them both right.
There was Boy's Own and there was Westlife.
Yeah, right. Well, Duffy was former Boy's Own singer Keith Duffy, who's now 42.
Okay.
And I think he's the one who starred in Coronation Street.
Is he?
As a lover of...
wasn't that Ryan McFadden?
Was it Ryan McFadden?
I don't know. You're the Coronation Street expert.
No. I think it was Keith Duffy. Right. And the
Ryan McFadden. So Ryan McFadden was the name of the bar.
It was. Ryan McFadden on the corner. On the corner.
Probably
opposite,
second, actually.
On the corner opposite the news building, Right. So, anyway, you've got former Boys Own singer Keith 42.
Yeah, and Keith 42.
Yeah, 42. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 42nd Street.
Yeah.
That's where Ryan McFadden
No, but it sounded like 42 was his second name.
No, Keith, who's aged 42. An ex-Westlife singer, Brian, who's aged 37.
Right.
So, they get together to put behind, all these sort of...
Because I think, Ronan Keating was in Boy's Own. I thought he was Westlife's manager. I thought he was the guy that started Westlife, but not as a singer, but as a manager.
And was he?
I think so.
Oh, right.
I think.
So he's a boy band singer, became a boy band manager?
Yes.
Okay,
I
very
think
good.
so, yeah.
Anyway, so what happens is they get together, to put behind them all the boy band wars of the past, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And appear in a show as Boys Life. Okay.
Right.
Now, this is at the Blake Hall in Bridgewater, Somerset, okay?
Yeah.
So it's not exactly the Royal Albert Hall.
No.
But then again, as we performed in rugby...
we did. Actually, I liked it. The theatre in rugby was good.
Theatre in rugby was good.
That wasn't a bad venue. That was sort of one of those arty venues.
Yeah, one of those arty venues, that's right. And so we mustn't, take the mickey out of anybody
no, I don't think we
performing in
should.
Bridgewater. I've been to Bridgewater in Somerset.
In Somerset, yeah.
Correspondent for
it's
one
a bit
of the
of a
papers.
backwater. You should call it backwater, shouldn't they?
Yeah, but it's very lovely. And this guy he was a West Country correspondent for one of the papers, I can't remember which one. He had a beautiful house on the edge of a river, and we walked down to his local pub and had dinner. It was on the way back from the Scilly Isles when that helicopter went down. But anyway, so these two get together. The problem is that it was obvious, according to witnesses, right from the start, that drink might have been taken.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they did a set which lasted 35 minutes.
That's not long, is it?
It's not long. We normally do up to 2 hours.
Well, we do. Yeah. I mean, is that all they did? Totally.
And in total 35 minutes.
Yeah.
So they started getting tweets, things like, "I've heard karaoke sung better than this," and then somebody posted a picture of Brian drinking a beer at a celebrity golf tournament earlier in the day.
Oh, dear.
But Brian tweeted back, "Firstly, I was not drunk, I was sunstroked. I had sunstroke.
Oh, yeah.
And I went straight to bed after the show."
That old chestnut.
Yeah, and secondly, this was not an official Boys Life tour show. He sort of said they were doing it as a favour. Problem was that the fans were charged £25 a ticket.
Right.
And it didn't go down too well. There was, people sending all sorts of tweets with hashtags drunk, bridge water, no, bridge beer, and all this kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't seem to go too well. A Boys Life representative insisted neither turned up smashed. Keith was slightly drunk, so they admit that there's a slight slight bladderisation problem. But he wasn't too drunk.
Right.
And he certainly wasn't too drunk to perform. And Brian didn't drink at all. He was dehydrated and had a headache.
Right.
They left the stage early because they miscalculated the timing. And they did not put enough songs into the set list.
What?
Well, I mean,
Well, isn't that part of what you do?
Well,
if you're a rock star or a pop star.
Exactly.
You've got a tour manager and somebody goes, look, here's the songs. I mean, every band that you've ever seen in your life, you see their song list.
Of course.
I mean, people said that David Bowie, for example, used to not only have a song list, but he used to put the lyrics of the songs taped to the stage.
That's right, yeah.
Because he would sometimes forget the words.
And Elton John does the same now, below his piano,
But he would put them all around there so that, you would never know that.
No, exactly.
But, it's one of those things you do. You don't, if you know how many songs you're going to sing in an hour, you make sure you've got enough songs to sing.
Yeah, but if you're only on stage 35 minutes, and by the time you said, hello, how are you doing? Welcome to Somerset, welcome to Bridgewater. We're all boys band, and we're going to give you a great show tonight, Boys Life, and all that. And our first song is, oh, Danny boy.
That's
there
not
are
one of
pipes, there are pipes. No.
That's not one of theirs.
And then, all that goes on for about 20 minutes. And then one more song, and then,
Well, maybe they thought they'd been on for an hour and a half.
But then they say, I'm sorry, we've got to go because we can't remember any more songs between us.
Also, in the old days, right, when the big bands like Led Zeppelin and The Who were all a bit too bladderised to actually do the show, they could always walk off and let the drum solo take over and have a drum solo for about 20 minutes.
Exactly.
And then come back later on.
That's right, yeah.
But they can't do that in Westlife.
No.
Or Boys Own.
No, but you can imagine Paul McCartney running out of songs on stage. It's so ludicrous.
I know.
And Paul McCartney would actually probably just send the rest of the band off and say, I'll take it from here.
I'll just carry on.
And I'll just play, an acoustic version of Yesterday or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Now, what about the Spandau Ballet story? Did you see that in the last couple of days?
Yes.
Tony Hadley put out his very mysterious statement.
Yes.
Which
saying he was leaving again.
Well, he said, I am no longer a member of the band Spandau Ballet and will not be performing with the band in the future.
Yes.
And nobody had asked him that question, right? Nobody had said, no. By the way, will you be any longer a member of Spandau Ballet?
Yes.
So something bad has happened, I presume.
They didn't speak for 8 years when they first broke up. Then they got back together and, we're all pals again and all that. And they've gone on the road together and apparently, according to the report I read, all the same tensions and issues and problems between the three of them has all come to the surface again,
right.
And they can't work. Do you know do you know what I found a bit distasteful?
What?
Where the title Spandau Ballet came from.
Where?
Have you ever thought about it?
Well, Spandau was where Rudolf Hess was held, wasn't it?
Yes.
I mean, that was the name of the prison.
Yes.
Ballet, I don't know. I presume they just added that on.
No, what it was is that although Rudolf Hess was sent to Spandau jail, he wasn't executed. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, which he did.
Right.
Some of the others who were sentenced to death were executed by hanging.
Right.
And the Spandau Ballet is the twitching of the body on the end of the rope.
Oh, really?
When they're hanged.
Oh, right. I'd never heard that.
Yeah.
I'd never heard that.
I know. That quite shocked me. I think it's very distasteful to have...
Well, I'm not sure that they would have necessarily known that was what it was.
No, that's why they did it. They came across it.
Is that what they said?
Well, I don't know if it was their choice, but somebody came across it.
They came across that phrase.
Spandau Ballet, what is it?
But they might not have known that, is what I'm saying.
I think they would have done. I
Really?
mean, well, wouldn't you ask? If somebody said, we're going to call the band Spandau Ballet, you'd say, Spandau, the most notorious jail in the world where Rudolf Hess is kept, what's the ballet bit?
Yeah.
And somebody must have said to them, that's
but
when...
if you're 18 and you're forming a band and you're trying to be a bit alternative, you're not thinking, isn't that a bit distasteful, are you?
Yeah.
You're thinking, this is quite cool.
Do you think it's a bit distasteful now?
Well, I don't think... Yeah, but I never knew it.
Yeah.
So until you've told me,
that's right.
I never thought of it as being distasteful. Because I didn't associate Spandau Ballet, with the horrible group of Nazis,
the twitching bodies on the end of a rope after they've been executed.
But now I'm never going to be able to listen to Gold again.
No, well, exactly.
Without thinking of somebody twitching.
Because the insinuation was that they weren't hanged properly. Because if you hang properly and you break your neck,
see now you're making it worse.
No, I'm not. You don't twitch. Whereas if you're throttled, That's where the ballet bit comes in, and you twitch around for
See,
about
normally
5 minutes before you
Vision
die.
is where you tell us about all these kind of torture techniques.
No, but I thought I'd better let you know.
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, yeah.
Well, hopefully after that they won't come back now because you don't really want to hear the phrase
No,
anymore,
exactly.
do you?
You don't. No.
It's a shocking thing.
Now, what's our schedule for the rest of the week?
We're on tomorrow night, same time, 1 o'clock till 4.
Yeah.
And then Friday we're back 7 to 10 in the evening.
We are.
With a special pre-Lions game.
That's right.
Because that'll be just ahead of the Lions' final game.
But it won't be 3 hours on the free lines.
No, it won't be.
No, we'll mention the
it'll
Lions.
be a 2 Mike show.
Yeah, 2 Mike
We
show.
don't do 3 hours on anything.
No, two
we
Mike
do
show.
3 hours on everything.
2 Mike show.
That should be our motto, actually.
That should be our motto.
2 Mikes, we do 3 hours on everything.
That's right, absolutely.
That's what
we do.
And then Saturday back for the warm-up, and then we're back on Sunday as well.
Sunday, between 5 and 8.
I think so,
It's a weird time, but
Yeah,
I mean,
it is
it's
a weird
good.
time.
It doesn't matter, you know.
There's a lot going on, is all I can tell
A
you.
lot going on. The 2 Mike do any time. We are a movable feast.
We are a movable feast. This is Talk Sport.
Look at the light! Don't forget to come back tomorrow for another sparkling, as fizzy as a bottle of champagne podcast from the 2 Mikes. What did you barbecue on?
Sausages.
No, but did you take a mobile barbecue?
No, we bought one of those disposable barbecues.
What?
You can buy a disposable. What are you looking at me as if you've never heard of these
No,
things?
I haven't.
Have you never seen them in the supermarket?
How
you
much do they
go in-
cost?
Oh, a couple of quid.
Where does the power come from?
There's no power. You set fire to it.
You set fire to it? What do you mean? The ability for me to switch on my lamp at home when I want to read my journals.
Well, you've got plenty of batteries in your spare drawer for the lamp, haven't you?
Well, the lamp should work from the plug in the socket. There won't be any electricity if every 40 million motorists in this country is sucking electricity out of poles in the street to use to drive their cars. There will be no electricity for my fridge freezer.
If you love the 2 Mikes podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
I'd sooner be in the electric chair than an electric car.